And we are live. What's up, everybody? Welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers. It's time for a Rockin Robbie with, and tonight we are with TheBoyWhoHad7. What's up, Matt? Welcome to the show.
Dude, I'm on your show. Excited.
I'm excited to have you, buddy. We've been doing these things, just having fun, kicking back. I just love chatting with everybody out there in the community, and I really love your channel. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do on your channel?
Man, thank you. First of all, brother, Comic Gories, man. That is the channel right now. You know, I got into YouTube because back 2015, I watched Man of Steel, and I'm not sure how you feel about that movie.
Oh, I like it.
Good, man. I fell in love with Superman, and I remembered, you know what? I have a whole bunch of Death of Superman comics. I'm going to go pull through my stuff and read some. So I started doing that, and I realized I didn't have the next issue. You know, I needed to know where the story was going.
Yeah.
So got me back into comic collecting after like a 15-year hiatus, man. I just had not done. I got married super young, like 2 days after we graduated high school. Started having kids, so all my money started going elsewhere. You know, not to comic books.
Oh yeah, totally.
And but anyway, I started hunting, man, and going to the comic shops and like looking for, you know, Funeral of a Friend and The Reign of Superman. I was just trying to get that whole run done. And then all of a sudden it just brought that passion back, you know?
Yeah. And
so I started watching people like, who was the first one that I found? Variant.
Okay. Yeah.
And I mean, that's a big channel, right? And I'd see all the stuff he would do. And I'm like, I love this. So I'd be watching it every Saturday morning or whatever. And then I started finding a couple other channels. And then I'm like, I could do this, you know?
Yeah.
And my favorite comic story of all time is Infinity Gauntlet. 90s, I was a 9, 10, 11-year-old kid when those were coming out, started reading them, fell in love with the story. And then all of a sudden I hear the MCU's doing this whole Infinity Gauntlet thing, you know?
Yeah.
As soon as I saw them, like Thanos at the end, I remember I'm in theater, bro, and I see Thanos at the end. I don't remember what movie it was. Maybe the first Avengers. But he's in the end credit scenes, and I see him. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Thanos! And nobody knows what I'm talking about. Nobody knows who the heck this purple guy is, you know?
Yeah.
And I just thought, you know what, this is the perfect time for me to jump onto YouTube. And so I started the journey out, just kind of like breaking down the Infinity Gauntlet. I went issue by issue, and it was a lot of fun. And things have evolved to unboxings and, you know, showing my grails and stuff like that. And finally, Comic Gories came around. It was a brainchild of mine, and then a couple of my friends helped me, you know, get it to where it is today, and it's been a hit, man. So you can come on my channel and watch a game show. You can watch some epic hauls. You can watch some mystery box unboxings. You can watch me break down some comics and stuff. But, I mean, I'll tell you this, man. There's been people along the way that I've met that have made this experience what it is, and that's probably my favorite thing about having a channel, man, is meeting people like you and Bueller, who's hashtagging recount right now.
Yeah, I see that.
You know, and I mean, that's me, man. That's my channel. I love comics. I love all things geek and pop culture, and you know.
Yeah. I love your channel, and you got some great shows. You know, Comic Gories is absolutely amazing. It's such a fun show. And if nobody's ever seen an episode of Comic Gories, shame on you for not watching the one that I was on. That Bueller's talking about when he says recount, but it's such a fun, cool show, and you get to see the most random books from people's collections and the personalities involved. And speaking of personality, dude, it's your personality shines through so much, and I absolutely love that. I love watching your content, whether it's an unboxing, a live stream you're doing with somebody else. You just have a passion for this, and it's crazy. So you were into it back in the 90s, Death of Superman, Infinity Gauntlet. I was right there with you. You know, man. I was like 10, 11, something around that time. So it seems like we're right in that same age.
Yeah, man.
And for you to only really be going hardcore into this for like the last 5 years, dude, you got some grails. You got some banging comic books there behind you. And I know you got more than that. Man, well done, sir. So you love the hunt, right?
Yeah, man. I'm telling you what, when I started looking for those Death of Superman books, it started this passion, this fire in me, man, because one thing is, and I think you probably agree with me, man, the hunt, the excitement of that, of trying to get something that you want really badly is probably the best part of it all. You know?
Yeah, it really. And I'm a toy collector too, vintage toy collector, and it's the exact same thing there. You know, and hunting it all down. Like right now, I want every single Kid and Play comic. I only have a couple.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
But yeah, hunting them down. I try to get a whole Fantastic Four collection. So I mean, I try to focus in on dumb things. You know, like I remember the day I was able to get all 12 issues of James Bond Jr. and I was like, holy cow! Now it's time for the action figure in the car. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, you just blew my mind. I have not heard James Bond Jr. in like forever, bro.
I know, dude. I had a #1 sitting right next to me on my comic gories. I was just waiting. For a category.
Dude, that is so great, bro. You're going to have to show me that one of these days, man.
Yeah. I wish I knew exactly where it was, but I didn't make it that far in my organizing because when I was on Comic Gories, by the way, and it's on his channel, you got to watch it. It's me and Jim, Bueller, and Comic Tom.
Yeah.
And it was a great episode in part because it's just a great concept, but Bueller really kind of went all out.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, he was on a stream with me and Dylan that night and he was worn out. He was worn out, dude. You could just see all the energy was gone. It's just like
yeah, man. I jumped on that night and I was in the chat for a while, man. And he went hard, man. I was like, Comic Tom's never going to talk to me again after what Bueller just did to him, man.
He's probably never talked to Bueller, man.
I know, right?
Oh, I hope everything's fine with you and Tom Bueller. I still want a copy of that Jello Man comic, though. I really do.
That was so great. I mean, you guys pulled out Kid and Play, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Jello Man. I mean, what a night, man. And then to see Jem like getting all excited and getting ready to go pick out his omnibuses, you know what I mean? Like
he was like a librarian, dude. It was so much fun.
So
how you said that? So it is your brainchild. That was your idea.
Yeah.
And then people help fine tune. I'm sure John's one of them, right?
Yeah.
So tell us how that came all about, man.
Yeah, man. I was on a show with a couple of my friends, Comic Books NYC and JP's Budget Collecting. And we do a show, or he does a show called Gotham City Chronicles, where he kind of goes over the different Batman storylines. He reads them with a bunch of guys, and then they kind of break everything down from the art to the story. And, we were hanging out talking about it. And I told him, because I had been thinking for a while, I want to make a new game show. Because I'd seen a couple of the guys in the community, like way back in the day, Reggie Collects. You know Reggie Collects, right?
Oh, so yeah, absolutely.
Reggie and this guy named Matt Thanatos, they did a show where they would go out and hunt books. And then they'd come back and show everybody what books they got. And then the chat would vote who did better hunting for the week, And it just sparked all these game shows after that. And I was thinking, man, I want to do something like that. So I started processing this idea of having guys get in their collection, because it's going to help them like really have to know what's in their collection. Like you said earlier, it's going to make you organize and look through it. And as you do that, you fall in love with your collection again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that 100% works. That is exactly what happened to me. I found things that I forgot I had.
Yeah.
And as soon as, and everybody out here knows it, we're all comic book people. You pull out a book that you completely forgot that you had. Maybe you got 20 years ago, and you're just like, it all comes back,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Everything, man. So this whole idea was there. We started talking about it. I was telling them, hey, you guys, I got this idea. What do you guys think? And then one guy's like, you know what? You should do it timed. Do it timed to make people get in their boxes. And I'm like, all right, 30 seconds. What do you guys think about 30 seconds? They're like, man, that's going to be tough, 30 seconds is real quick to get up, run over there, open up boxes, pull stuff out. But let's try it, So then the other guy's like, how about you? Because I was going to call it Friday Night Fights. That's what I called it at first, actually.
Okay.
He's like, hey, why don't you, since you're doing comic categories, why don't you call it Comic Gories? And I was like, dude, you are awesome. Can I use it? You mind if I take it? He's like, dude, it's yours, man. And so I called John up, who's a good friend. I'm like, John, I got this idea. I need a referee, someone that, is very articulate, somebody that can keep on top of everybody. I'm too nice. Like if somebody comes after 30 seconds, I'm like, it's okay. But as a game show, you got to be tough. And I'm like, I need somebody tough. And so he's like, yeah, let's do it. And then we just started doing it, man. And it just got better and better and better. And my favorite part about the show now is as people are watching, man, they're sending us their books from their collection through my Instagram.
Yes.
They're doing the home Comic Gory version. And they're like, this is what I would have pulled. This is what I would have pulled. And now every single episode we have a giveaway. So we have 4 people from home go head to head, the chat votes, and I give something away, you know? So, I mean, it's just evolved into this time where like the community hangs out, and we always have anywhere from 65 to 110 people showing up in the chat, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, all of them are voting, and it's insane. And you know how it is. You get excited, you get pumped, you get nervous, you know, and then you just have people like Bueller that destroy everyone with trash talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's been a huge success and something that I look forward to it every time we do it, man.
Oh, it's a great show, man.
Yeah,
it really is. That was Bueller pretty much won with straight up with smack talk. And that's what he does. He does well. But you know, he may have made it to the final round of the Comic Gories, and I didn't, and that's fine. But I had to go up against Jim, and he's undefeated so far. And but I am the reigning Battle Draft champion on the Everything Comic Books or Everything Comics channel. Yeah, we've only done 2, and I've won both. So Bueller can't talk too much smack when it comes to picking a team.
2-time world champ.
On the last episode, I created a character off the fly. Like one of the categories was Outsider, and I picked Night Thrasher, right? Because I did have like a very specific team for a very specific story idea, right? But I threw Night Thrasher in there just because I love Night Thrasher so much. He's like one of my favorite near forgotten heroes that I just wish would get the spotlight. And and then Will from Hero and the Kid, right? He picked Ghost Rider, and I could see the tides turning in the chat, right? And so I kept doing this shtick where I would like be like, oh yeah, well, they'd be like, well, you should have picked Captain America. I'd be like, Captain America's dead in my world, right? And I would just create the story as I was going along. So I was like, no. I was like, see, though, in my world, Ghost Rider's dead, and Dwayne gets the Spirit of Vengeance. So he's actually the Ghost Thrasher. And I won with that.
Yeah, dude. I think you posted that on Instagram, didn't you?
Yeah, somebody at Fable, who is actually here right now, Fable Mob.
What's up, Fable?
Put together the Ghost Thrasher, what he would look like, and I love it. I want to see more. I want to see more Ghost Thrasher fan art, and we're gonna get this to happen. I'm still waiting on Marvel to call me because I had a great story. Basically, H.P. Lovecraft takes over the Marvel universe and kills everybody.
That's cool.
And it's up to Black Panther, Doctor Doom, Namor, and Night Thrasher, and a few others to save everything.
Yeah, man. I love it. You're the new Donny Cates, bro.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. And I'm sure that's, because Donny Cates, I love this thing I like about Donny Cates. All of his ideas seem like from a night out at the bar, drinking with your friends, talking about comic books. What if Frank Castle had the Spirit of Vengeance?
Right.
Something like that. And I think I remember one person one time tweeting him that, and he goes, that's exactly how my ideas happen.
No way.
Yeah. And man, you can get it.
Yeah, he just takes these characters that we know, twists them, throws them together, like right now with the Thor run. I'm not sure if you're reading it, but dang, man, having Thor, hanging out with Galactus now as his herald, but he's also the All-Father at the same time. Like, holy cow, man. Yeah,
I'm reading that Thor book. I'm reading everything. I'm even reading more now because since they started comic books back and they're doing like a lighter schedule. So I'm like, God, man, there's only like 10 books I want to read. Well, let me get caught up on Wonder Woman. Let me get caught up on Hellblazer. Now I'm actually reading more, which when everything goes back to normal schedules is going to kind of bite me in the ass a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
When I take home 60 comics one week.
Man, I think it's cool, though, because you're probably helping out that LCS, Or
well, I work there. So
that's what I'm going to say. It's actually your... So doing that, like, do you get to get like a discount on everything, or how does that work for you, man? Are you
I get a mad discount.
Yeah.
I'm the store manager of my shop.
Okay.
And I get a really nice discount. I shouldn't really say, but I get a pretty hefty discount on the books that I want. And I also, because I work at a shop, obviously when vintage stuff comes in, say a Fantastic Four collection gets sold in, or a Masters of the Universe toy collection comes in, I get to be like, okay, well, I'm going to want these. Yeah, dibs. You get to call dibs. I've always placed myself in these kind of jobs. I used to work at a video store. I used to work at a movie theater. I always placed myself in these jobs where I could get like some kind of a benefit to the stuff that I was into, you know, movies and comics and whatnot.
Heck yeah, man.
But yeah, and it's you know, it's hard work. Obviously, it's fun. Sometimes I feel like YouTube is harder work, you know, just a little bit.
I can feel that.
But I have a lot of fun. So it seems like I got a full-time job and a part-time job.
Yeah.
But I'm having fun with it. I'm doing what I love. I'm doing my passion. So,
dude, how long have you been doing that now, man?
Well, I first started working in the retail industry for comics in like the late 90s. It was like 99. I just graduated high school.
Wow.
And I worked at a shop, and then I very quickly became the manager there at like 19 years old. And then at 20, they offered me a partnership. And so I became a partner and actually owned my own comic shop. The diamond account was in my name. I dealt with everything. I ran the store literally into the ground. So we closed up a few years later. And there were a lot of other factors. It wasn't like necessarily me, but I'll take responsibility, obviously. Yeah. So one of our competitors was a shop called the Deep Comics and Games. Okay. And so we basically kind of like moved our sub list to them so that they would be able to continue getting books. They kind of merged accounts, right?
Cool.
And we told everybody, like, if you don't want to, because at that time we had like, there were a lot of shops in my town at the time. Now there's really just kind of two, right? Okay. And the other one's actually in a town over. So we're kind of like the only comic shop in my actual city.
Yeah. Wow.
And we've lasted, you know, we've been, this is our 25th year in business. So when our sub list went over there, I was part of the deal. Cool. So I went over there and I started working, and I only did that for like a couple years. But I was just kind of like a low level guy there. Yeah. And I only worked a few days a week. And then I got a job at like a sandwich shop, which I hated.
Which one?
It was I think it's more of a local place called Subzone. Oh, okay. It no longer exists. It's cool. Subzone. They had, I think they were regional maybe or something like that.
Yeah.
But I quit that to get a real job because I started, you know, I discovered going out to the club and really hollering at women and having fun. What's that?
You needed some cha-ching, man.
Yeah, I needed some money. So I kind of stopped I just kind of slowed down a little bit. And I went and got a real job. I washed cars and drove. I was a porter at a service station. And that was fine. It was money and it was a steady gig and I had insurance and all that stuff. But then eventually I was like, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
And then I started trying to make music. Then I quit my job and I moved up to West Virginia for a while to record a hip hop album. And I came back.
Wait.
Doing that.
Did you just say I went and recorded a hip hop album?
Yeah. And
okay. Where do we hear this, brother?
Oh man, it's well the group is called The Basement Show with a THA, right?
Oh, yeah, I know this.
So we only did the one full-length album and we did an EP and we did a bunch of house parties, right? But it kind of fell to the wayside a few years after that. But you can find it all. I think it's Reverb Nation, but it's The Basement Show, like THA.
Okay.
You gotta look for it that way. And when I do my live streams on Sunday nights, I always put one of our songs during the break.
Yes, that's where I remember it from.
Yeah. So it was passionate about that. And then I wound up coming back. I worked at a movie stop for a while. It's like a GameStop, but it was with movies. Cool. And I was store manager there for a while. And then I got fed up with that and I quit and I went back to the deep and then kind of started from peon again and then made it to store manager and now kind of help run the show 100% for the most part. So have a lot of fun with it.
Man, that's so awesome, brother. In my high school years, my first job I ever worked at was Hollywood Video. The day I turned 16, I'm like, I want to work.
I worked at a Hollywood Video.
Yeah, baby. What's up, Perry? Yeah, man. So I was at Hollywood Video, and then I fell in love with music, and I was really just digging The Cure. You know the band The Cure?
Oh, I love The Cure. They're one of my top fives.
Dude, my top band of all time, right?
Nice. So what's your favorite Cure album?
Wish. Probably Wish and then Disintegration, man. Nice.
I'd go with Japanese Whispers.
Really?
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Do you have a favorite song on that album, or it's just the overall feeling of it? Or?
I love the whole album. My favorite song is The Walk.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I like the more poppy, synthy, techno-y sounding stuff, you know?
Dude, it's my favorite sound in the world, man.
Yeah, right?
80s synth pop is just the best for me, man. I just absolutely love it, man.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, so I mean, I got into the Cure hardcore, and so I moved over to this place called All That Music, which was like a CD shop, just a music record shop. They had all kinds of stuff, and like you said earlier, I kind of positioned myself there. So every time, you know, used albums came in, or I got my discount with international purchases and stuff, man. And so I bought everything I could Cure for the longest time, man.
Yeah, man.
So, but yeah, I was a big Cure, Morrissey, Depeche Mode. Those are probably my big three right there. And absolutely love it, man. So it's good to find another Cure fan, baby.
Oh man, I love the Cure. We tried to, me and some homies of mine tried to start a Cure cover band one time because I play synth, right? And
dang,
what's that?
That's epic, bro. That's
thank
epic.
you. We tried to start one, and we figured out some songs and all that stuff, and we were going to be called. At one point, we were called the Love Cats, and then another point we were called Three Imaginary Boys. Even though there was four of us, but we were like, it has to be three.
Perfect name. Perfect name, man.
But we never did anything. We wanted to do a Halloween show. We had one set up, and it got canceled. But
yeah,
I learned a lot of Cure songs by ear on the keyboards. I'll tell you that much.
We need to get together because I sing and play the guitar.
Nice.
And I could probably play 50 plus Cure songs.
Yeah,
it's everything I do, man. And we need to get together, do a little something.
Do a jam session, man.
Heck yeah, bro. I'll tell you the cool story. Depeche Mode Violator, epic album, got tanked.
Great album.
Epic album. Okay, so I fell in love with the Cure. All right, let me go back to the beginning, man. Really cool story. My sister's dating this dude who's like 5 years older than her, and she's 2 years older than me. So I'm like 9 years old. She comes into my room because they break up, and maybe a little older than that because she was like 14. So I was like 12. So she comes into my room, breaks up. They broke up, and she's like, I want nothing to do with this guy. Like, here's all the albums he gave me, and she throws them on my bed. And she throws a whole bunch of Smith's albums, Depeche Mode albums, Cure albums, right?
Yeah.
And so she gave me Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, and she gave me Boys Don't Cry. And so I start throwing the albums on. I'm listening to some songs like Depeche Mode. I'll listen to Enjoy the Silence all day long. But that's the only one I listened to on the album for a while, you know? So Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Just Like Heaven's on there. I listen to that thing every day, all the time. Boys Don't Cry, right?
Yeah.
So I fell in love with those songs, but didn't get into much because I was really young, you know? Like I didn't explore much into the albums. I didn't see something that caught my attention right away. So at 16, I am working at Hollywood Video, and the manager's a huge Cure fan, and he puts on, at the end of the day, he puts on one of the VHS tapes of like the Cure's music videos. And all of a sudden I'm like, I know this song, you know, and it just takes off from there, bro. So I'm going to turn, like, fast forward. And one of my daughter's name is Elise, and my other daughter's name is Charlotte. Okay. That's how much I love the Cure.
Nice.
So let it be Charlotte sometimes, you know what I mean?
Charlotte sometimes, one of my favorites, man.
Oh, dude, such a great song. So anyways, I'm turning 30. It's October. What year was it? 2013. So I got with my friends. I'm like, guys, you know what I want to do for my big 3-0? I want to throw a concert in my backyard, and I want to just cover all Cure songs. Let's do it. Let's get together. So I used to be in bands when I was younger. I called my old band up, and they're like, let's do it. So we started practicing. We got Push Down, A Night Like This. We have, of course, Just Like Heaven, Love Song. I mean, we just started getting so much goodness, you know?
Yeah.
And then the lead guitarist calls me up one day. He's like, dude, you will never guess what's happening. I'm like, what? He's like, the Cure's coming to El Paso. And they've never been here, ever. They've never stopped by here, El Paso, you know? And I'm like, no freaking way. I'm like, what day? He's like, you will never guess what day. On your birthday, bro. So I'm like, oh my, it's just mind blowing, dude. We were planning that night to sit in my backyard and play a bunch of Cure music, and they're coming that night, man. So I took my kids, my wife, all my friends, you know, we went to see the Cure, man. And for my 30th birthday, I was watching a 41 song set list, man. I mean, It was just 4 encores. It was like 3.5, almost 4 hour long concert. It was just the best concert I've ever been to, man.
That's awesome. I'm slightly jealous. I've never seen the Cure live.
Bro.
Never. And time's running out. I mean, they're still going. They never stop.
They are.
They never stop. People talk about the Rolling Stones. I'm like, what about the Cure?
Yeah.
Like, they've never stopped. Robert Smith is out there the entire time.
Yeah, he is.
And he's such a great artist, and I love the Cure so much. That's so cool, man. That's so we got to get something going. We're gonna get the comic YouTuber Cure cover band. We're gonna get Bueller to play the triangle.
That's right.
Yeah, man.
We'll make it work, right?
Heck yeah, dude. That's super cool. I was Robert Smith one year for Halloween. We were doing a big 80s theme, and I picked Robert Smith, and I had to go and I got my friend Natalie, and I was like, you need to do me a favor. She's like, well, I was like, I need lipstick, I need eyeshadow, I need the whole thing. I need the eyeliner. I want to look like Robert Smith. And I took this just wig and we just cut it, just shredded it, right? And it looked perfect, man. And I had so much fun that night being Robert Smith.
Check it, man.
Look at that.
Boom. Right.
There you go.
Office, man.
I love it.
Dude, I one of these days, man, when they come, we're going to have to meet up and go to the concert together, bro.
Yeah, no kidding. Once concerts come back, that will be a fun thing to do.
Yep, man.
I've always they're on my bucket list. I want to see the Cure.
I've seen them 5 times now.
Wow.
And yeah, man, I've seen them in California a few times. I've seen them in El Paso twice now since that concert. They came back like 3 years later.
Yeah.
I've seen them in Dallas, San Antonio. Man, dude, it's so great.
We got to do that. You know, Texas is a little bit away from me, but it's actually not too bad of a drive. I've done it before in a bus.
Where are you at?
I'm in Alabama.
Are you really?
Yeah. North Alabama, Huntsville.
I wonder what area are the concerts usually at that are closest to you?
Usually Nashville and Atlanta.
Okay.
Those are usually where we go. Sometimes you get something down in Birmingham. And we get some decent ones here. Sometimes we're getting more. Huntsville's really, one day we're going to be a real boy. You know, we're in the process. But usually we go to Atlanta or Nashville. And out of my top 5 bands, the only one that I've seen is 311, which I've seen multiple times. And Oasis is like one of my favorite bands ever.
Dude.
And I've never seen Oasis, but I did see Noel Gallagher a few years ago. So that was kind of close.
Sweet, man.
And then, of course, you can't see the Clash anymore.
Oh,
so that's sad. But I have seen other favorites. I've seen Weezer finally, and that was super fun. I saw
What's Weezer's homies? This is my girl.
All right. Oh my goodness. Taking it back to 1994 here on Reelin' in the Years with Matt and Robbie.
That's right, man. Dude, Oasis too, man. Like Green Day, Dookie, Weezer, Oasis, man. I had those albums on play all the time, man, those years.
Yeah, those are great. So you're in El Paso.
Yeah.
I've been to San Antonio. We did a band trip one year, and we went to San Antonio. We went to the Ripley's Museum. We went to the Alamo. We went to a dude ranch, and broke into the bar and started trying to drink the whiskey, but it was all locked up. But
nice.
That was super fun. So you live in the exact same town as Jim. In fact, you're one of the few of us who've actually been in the Jim cave.
I have.
Tell us, is it everything it's cracked up to be on screen?
The screen does not do it justice, bro. I'm telling you what, you walk into that room and you see all the omnibuses and you're just like, whoa. I mean, it's bigger and more beautiful than it looks on camera, man. All 3 walls were covered in omnibuses, statues everywhere. I mean, goodness gracious, we played some video games together, man. Like, God, man, it's epic, man. It really is epic.
That's super cool. I remember that night when we first met on that stream that he put together. So Jim actually is very much responsible for me kind of dipping my foot into the YouTube comic book community, you know?
Yeah.
Because when I was first, we've been doing this for about 5 years now, and I started doing comic books after year 1. That's when I started covering, because oddly enough, I was like, nobody's going to care what I have to say about comic books. But so we were just mostly movies and TV before that. Yeah. But when I would search comic books on YouTube, I would just get the most inane channels talk. All they would do was just bash stuff. You know what I'm saying? They would just be like, "This book sucks. This writer sucks. This character sucks." And I'm just like, we need some positivity, right? And when Jim invited me on that stream, it opened my eyes to this entire world of positive YouTube content that I didn't necessarily know existed. And because I was in my own bubble,
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I spend probably too much time watching other people's YouTube channels, but I have a lot of fun with it.
That's the problem, man. That's the problem.
But I remember when I first popped in,
Mhm.
and I was nervous, you know, I was like, oh man, because I'd seen a little bit of everybody's videos before.
Yeah.
And just a little bit, because when I found out who was on there, I checked everybody out. And I had seen Jim, obviously, a few times.
Yeah.
And I was a little nervous, and I popped in there, and the first thing I hear is his arcade machines, his one-ups going off, just in the background. And I just was like, I am home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. I'll tell you what, couple things to what you said. The community is so big, and there's so many like little areas of the community that the more you dip your toe in, the more you get to meet people, man. And I'm telling you what, I'm glad that Jem did that. The fact that this dude has 80,000 subscribers now, and he's still like inviting me. I don't even have 2,000 yet, and he's like, "Hey, come to my house, man." You know,
yeah.
It's just real, man. And I really appreciate him that. I really appreciate him for doing that.
Yeah.
Then the fact that I didn't know you before then, brother. I did it, man. I remember I got put in the group chat, and I was like, well, let me go check this guy out, you know? And now I'm so happy that he did that, man, because I mean, you're just a great guy. The friendship that we share now after that, you know, it's cool. It's cool that he brought us together. And one guy that's really been big to do that for multiple people too is Bueller.
Oh, yes.
Man, I remember Bueller when he had less subscribers than I did, man. And one day he messages me and he's like, "Hey, what camera do you use to your thing?" And we had a little conversation, and then all of a sudden he just blew up, man. That guy just blew up. But he kept picking everybody up around him.
Yeah.
Hey, this guy's about to hit 500. Go sub him. Hey, this person's doing a giveaway. Go sub him. Hey, this person's about to hit 1,000. Here's the Bueller bump, you know? And he's got so many people over that I just love him and appreciate him for that. And so many people do, you know?
Oh, Bueller's the best, man. I love that guy.
Yeah.
I'm definitely planning at some point in the next year or two making the trip to Portland.
Heck
because Bueller is just super cool, and I want to just meet him and share some coffee with him.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you got Bob from Everything Comics. I love their coffee and comic show.
Yep.
I love it so much.
Yep.
And then they got me into Sam from Sam's Tangled Web and
BS show.
Yeah, and Damien from Sleepy Reader 666. And that's just, they're very fortunate to be in a place where there's so many of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like Portland is the American mecca for comic books, it seems. You know, like so many publishers are there, so many creators are there, so many comic book YouTubers there, so many high-end shops are there. I think they're very lucky to be near each other. But we're also very lucky just to be a part of this community with them. They're all absolutely fantastic people.
I agree, man. Sam, I love that guy so much, man. Like he's so much fun because politically we're on opposite ends of the spectrum. So he'll always post stuff on Facebook, and I'm like, whatever, bro. But I do it with so much love, dude, because you know, like you can't get caught up in that and start hating friends. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, 100%.
But him and I will go at it, and then we're like, I love you, bro. He's like, I love you too, man. And he's just so much fun, and that dynamic that him and Bueller have on the BS show is it's insane and funny and great, you know. And so you're right. I mean, I was so looking forward to actually physically meeting them at MegaCon this year, and COVID stripped that from all of us. But there's always next year, you know what I'm saying? And so I hope we're going to do that next year, and I get to hang out with Bueller and Sam and the rest of the comic community that's going to be there. And
I remember hearing that all of y'all were going to be there, right? Yeah. And I was like, oh man, let me look up the dates. And it was the exact same date as our con or as Heroes Con. Because it was initially in June, right?
No, it was April 16th.
That's right.
Through the 19th or something.
That was the exact same dates as the con in my own town.
Yep.
In which PCP's been there every year. My comic shop's there, and we do a panel, and so it's a big thing, right?
Yeah.
And of course that got postponed. It's still supposed to fire off next month, so we'll see. But I got bummed out. I was like, man, because Orlando, that's kind of close. You know, I can get to Orlando. So we definitely got to do that. It seems like if everybody's willing to get to that Florida show, that's a good place because we can get all the homies down there and the 90 crew and all them up there. And Perry, I think, is in Florida, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
I mean, there's so many people that were going to go. I mean, I think we counted it at one point, and there's going to be 35 to 40 of us just meeting there. it's like you know what? I don't even know if I'm gonna care about comics at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, let's just go out. Let's all go out and have some drinks and some coffee
yeah,
and go out.
We were talking about karaoke. We were talking about Disneyland. We were talking about Harry Potter World, Star Wars. I mean, like, there's so much to do, and everyone was gonna be there. We're like, let's just go have a blast, you know?
Yeah, we definitely got to get something like that planned then, man. That's gonna be fun. And y'all ain't ready for karaoke with Rockin Robbie. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, baby. Hey, we'll do some Cure songs together, brother.
Hell yeah, we will. Hell yeah, just like heaven, I'm there. Let's do it.
I'm
Boom.
down.
Let's do it. Close to me, let's do it. I'm down. Whatever you want to do. Lullaby, hell yeah, let's do it, man.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so good to find another Cure fan in the comic book community, man. I'm excited for what's gonna come from this, man.
I know, right? What are we gonna do? Oh man, we can have all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah,
The Cure is great, man.
Bueller says it'll be awesome. He's excited about it.
Hell yeah, man. I've always wanted to make it up to Emerald City Comic Con. Because that's literally on the opposite end of the country from me.
Oh yeah.
But that's a con I always want to go to because I'm really big into indie comics and I'm really big into Vault in particular. And even though Vault's like in Montana, I think, that's kind of like their homecoming show is going to ECCC. And I know so many people that are creators of Vault, and I would love to meet them in person and just being close to them. I mean, that would be a fun one to go to though. But of course, that was like the first one that like got knocked down this year. It seems like 2020, the year without cons.
Yeah.
But I
hopefully
not trying to toot our own horns, but I think we've really picked up the slack here on YouTube with this community. And you know, they did the Mainframe Comic Con, and and I know a lot of us have started kicking up live streams and just interacting with the community and trying to bring in guests. Yeah. And I really feel like the community is we're lamenting together, but we're doing it together, and that's the important thing, right?
Yeah, what's cool is you've seen so many people just come together through YouTube, and I'm excited to see, you know, how big this community grows to, and these moments where we get to hang out and stuff. And I know John and I talked when quarantine first started. We're like, dude, we need to do comic gories more often. And he's like, yeah, man, because people are going to be home. Let's do it, you know? Yeah. So we both like, let's do 2-3 a week. And for maybe a good 3 weeks, we're just hitting it, you know? And then after the big dog show that you were on, we're like, all right, let's take a little break. We don't want people to burn out, you know? But we were just trying to keep people entertained and have a good time. And I've seen everybody doing that. And it's been great. It's been great.
Yeah. It's been really great. I think the community has responded collectively in a very awesome manner to all the changing lanes in the industry going on right now, and in everywhere. I mean, it's a literal crazy time that we're living in, man. It's just, I don't know, man. I've seen many people post this kind of stuff, but it feels like we've lived like, I don't know, like an entire U.S. history book halfway through this year. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot. It's a lot. And there are no easy answers to any of it, you know?
No, it's not.
But man, the comic book community really continuously every day surprises me. And I'm glad to be a part of it, you know?
Heck yeah, man. I think the easy answer is easy to say. It's just hard to do, but it's honestly love, brother. Yeah. You know, it really is, man. And so there's a lot of good people in this community that I've had some hard conversations with people in this community. I was joking about it with Sam earlier, but I called up one of my friends from the community today who happens to be an African American, and I'm like, let's talk, man. After everything that's going on, how are you feeling? What's happening? Yeah, we talked on the phone for like 3 hours, and we had an emotional roller coaster ride. Not because we were fighting or anything, but just because of everything that's happening, you know. And I'm like, lay it on the line. Let's talk. Let's get it out, you know. Yeah. And so the great thing is that after that conversation, man, I just love the dude even more. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's what the world needs, man. We just need to love each other regardless of our differences, you know? Yeah. And we need to, that love. And with love comes respect, you know? Yep. And we're not always going to all think the same. Never. But I think the majority of us have kind of the same end goal, you know? Yeah.
Even though you may think the other person is thinking about it the wrong way or going about it the wrong way, I think that, I mean, you're right. It is an easy answer. It is love, but it's a hard thing to do.
Yep.
Because we've all been hurt. We all want to lash out.
Yep.
We all get angry, and there's justifiable, righteous anger in this country right now. But at the end of the day, it's all about where do we go from here?
Yeah.
You know, and making those bridges and building something together, because that's what we did. We've done it before, and we can do it again. 100%. I was talking to had Alex Packnadell on the channel on Sunday morning, and he's a comic book writer I tremendously respect. He's written books, great sci-fi. He calls them horror, but I call them sci-fi. So let's just say sci-fi horror books. Arcadia, Turncoat, Friendo, some great books. And we were talking about it, and he said, we at the very end of the show, after just talking about comic books and all that kind of stuff, we were like, do you have hope for the future? And that's a loaded question right now, right?
Yeah.
And he said, and he's from the UK, right? So he lives out there. And he goes, he basically said that if anybody can survive what's going on right now, it's the United States. And he was like, I love you guys. Like, you are, to me, are like the shining example of there are moments where America is the shining example of how it should be.
Yeah.
And so he said, if I have hope for any country, it's the United States. Because of course, in the UK, they're dealing with their own brand of stuff too.
Oh yeah.
And it's all over. It's global, and it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but you're right. Love.
Yeah.
Love is all you need. It's like what the Beatles says. It's simple, but it's simple, but it is the hardest damn thing to do, dude.
It's true.
Because we all have so many reasons not to love.
It's true. Know? It's true. And I think what we have to do is find our common ground, because I'll tell you, I mean, I'm serious, man. I have conversations politically with people off screen all the time. Yeah. I don't like to bring that stuff too much on screen. But, you know, someone will see a tweet I did or something. They'll message me like, hey, that doesn't sound like you, man. I'm like, oh, okay, let's have a conversation, you know?
Yeah.
And man, like we have some great conversations. And because we have common ground in comic books, we're already friends, you know?
Yeah.
And then because we realize, hey, we both do have the same end goal, like you just said, we just are kind of going about it in a different way. And then, well, then who cares? You know? We can, if we both believe in helping this set of people or this group or having our country go this way, but we're thinking about it in different ways, we both have the same heart, you know? Yeah. And once we realize that, you know, it's okay to have differences. It's okay to look at things in a different way, as long as, like you said, that love brings out respect, you know? So I love this community, man. I love the friends I've made here. And we have some strong friendships now, and all the stuff that's going on, our friendships is strong. Our friendships are stronger than that. And that's the best part, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Now that we're done with the heavy shit. But no, I'm glad we had that conversation. That's a really, yeah. I've been struggling with this one, with this whole last week, because I feel a lot of different sides on this, you know?
Yeah.
And it's hard because we're also in a world now where, you know, it's love and that respect and having that conversation. You know, when you were saying that, say you tweet something out, so somebody reaches out and they're like, hey, let's have a conversation about this. Most people would just retweet it and be like, let's cancel this dude. You know what I'm saying? Or look at it. And that's from all sides of everything, you know?
It's true.
And it's absolutely ridiculous. And I think we definitely need more conversation. We need more problem solving, more coming together, more finding that common ground. And that's a great thing about this community, whether it's comic books or toy collecting or being a movie buff or any of this nerd stuff that's typically just viewed as escapism. It's not just escapism, because there are moments where it is, but there are moments where you use this stuff. Like, there have been plenty of comic books in my life that changed the way I thought about something. Plenty of movies I've watched where, you know, I remember the first time I was a young kid watching A Time to Kill. And my whole world got shifted around, you know?
Yeah.
And Mississippi Burning and stuff like that. And so there's a place for that, but also just the idea that we're all into the same stuff. That's a common ground, you know? Like, I've gotten common ground with people. They're people that I would typically probably couldn't stand and never have a good conversation with.
Yeah.
I completely bonded over our love of cereal. You know what I'm saying? Like, We all have stuff that we love, and that
Good
finding
Captain
that
Crunch
initial.
bring people together.
What's that? Captain Crunch? Hell yeah. What are your favorite cereals?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go Captain Crunch. Obviously, I just brought that up. I love me some Fruity Pebbles.
Yes.
And then it's really weird, but I love puff rice. Have you ever tried puff rice?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, man. They don't really make it I don't see it in the stores anymore, but I crave the crap out of that all the time, man. Cookie Crisp, pretty good. Life cereal.
Oh,
but yeah, I love it. How about you?
Oh man. Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Lucky Charms. Lucky Charms. How am I forgetting Lucky Charms? Okay, sorry.
Love for Lucky Charms there. I would be Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Peanut Butter Crunch,
nice,
Fruity Pebbles, and Cocoa Pebbles,
nice,
and Cinnamon Life. Cinnamon Life. Those are probably my favorites right there.
So you're a cinnamon guy, huh?
Yeah, I think it really comes across very well in cereal.
Nice.
Like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, it's not just the cinnamon flavor, it's the texture involved. In fact, I think this Chocolate Toast Crunch is probably better than Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I prefer the chocolate flavors. And I'm a big fan of the Count Chocula, Frankenberry, and Boo Berry. I love the hell out of that stuff.
Nice, man. I'm a huge chocolate guy too, bro. So I have not tried that chocolate crunch though. I'm gonna ask my wife to pick it up next time she goes to the store.
It is so damn good, and it makes the best cereal milk you've ever had. I'm not even kidding.
Heck yeah, man! I love chocolate milk, so I'm gonna love downing the milk at the end. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. There you go. Oh, dude, it's the best. Put an extra when you do this one. You got to put a little bit extra milk. I'm a guy that likes a mid-level of milk. I don't like too much milk in my cereal, but I always go too much on that, so I have more of that leftover cereal milk, dude.
Loving it. What's up, Mark?
Love it.
Bueller is a comedian, man. He's asking me if as long as he can hate 5 people, and then he named them all in the chat.
Glad to put sugar law. A lot of mother-in-laws and ex-wives. Okay. Yeah. Damn, Bueller. I feel like Bueller's got some rage he's got to let out one day.
Oh, Apple Jacks, Brett Hess for sure.
Apple Jacks.
Apple Jacks is great. I like
Apple Jacks is definitely top 10.
Yep.
It's a tough game in the top 5, though. It's a tough game. That's why on the podcast we do a top 5 and not a top 10, because we're like top 5s are tougher.
Yeah, that's true.
Because in top 10 you get 10 choices to work with, and you can rank them, and that's fine. But at 5, whew,
you really got to think. You're splitting hairs there, man.
Exactly.
We try to
what's that?
We try to do one of those hashtags on Instagram where it's like your top 5 favorite heroes of all time. I had 25 in the list, man. I just posted all 25 pictures. It's just too hard for me, man. Oh, yeah.
You know, Bueller, you're right. I love Golden Grams, too. I have a box of Golden Grams right now. I always have about 10 to 15 boxes of cereal unopened.
Nice.
Just ready. Just waiting. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
In fact, when all this COVID stuff started happening, I was like, cool, I got cereal.
Yeah.
Like, I may not have toilet paper, but I got cereal.
I got cereal, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And I like the vanilla almond milk. That's my
cool.
That's my cereal milk of choice. I like that one.
Vanilla almond milk. I haven't tried it.
It makes it makes it more rich tasting a little bit for me because of the vanilla flavor. Complements a lot of them. So
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm down with that.
I stopped drinking regular milk a while ago.
Lactose or something, or just
no? Well, I went vegetarian for a while.
Cool.
And I didn't go vegan, right? But I went vegetarian for like 3 or 4 years, right?
Really?
Yeah. And during that, actually before that, this is where the almond milk thing started. Before that, I was really heavy into the gym. I was trying to lose some weight. At times I've been heavier in my life. So I was really hardcore going to the gym and paying attention when I was eating, and I was calorie counting.
Yeah.
And so when I would eat cereal, I was like, man, that's a lot of calories. How can I cut this? I was like, well, I could eat less cereal. And I was like, wait a second, how many calories are in almond milk?
I love cereal.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to switch to almond milk. And then once I did that, it's fine. Like milk, I never liked whole milk. It always feels heavy to me. And I didn't swear off dairy. I still eat cheese, and I'm not even a vegetarian anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it was. It's a way to eat cereal a little bit like like when you're counting calories, cereal really adds up. But if you use almond milk, it's not as bad.
I love how you went between milk and cereal. Like, I'm not giving up cereal, man.
I know.
That was got to change.
Priorities, man. Priorities.
My daughter is just, and my son actually was just talking to myself and my wife yesterday. They want to start like trying the whole vegetarian life, you know?
Yeah.
My daughter, since she was little, my oldest, Elise, she just is not a fan of meat at all. She's always been grossed out by any kind of meat.
Yeah.
And so like, even if we'll have like steaks or something for dinner, she'll eat her asparagus, she'll eat tons of baked potato or mashed potato, and she'll cut like a little piece of meat and just like, you know, so I'm like, you know what? If you're not having it, I mean, there's plenty of other stuff where you can get your protein and all that. So we're kind of going over that yesterday.
Yeah, you just got to be smart with it. You just got to pay more attention, because I know a lot of people that they can go vegetarian and basically all they do is eat cupcakes and macaroni and cheese, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's still not quite healthy.
Yeah.
But some people do it for an ethical reason. Some people do it for an environmental reason. I kind of did it. I watched a documentary and I was like, it's pretty bad the way like the meat industry is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, well, and I'm really big on like willpower exercises or trying to switch like a paradigm change. Even something as simple as one day, I mean, I've always hated Gambit. Then one day I was like, I'm going to be a Gambit fan. So I bought some Gambit action figures, read some Gambit comic books, and there you go. Yeah. And now I'm cool with it, right? And I feel like a more widespread person. Like I feel like my personality got bigger because I now I've incorporated something that I never incorporated before, right?
Yeah, man, I like that.
And so I did it as a willpower thing. I was like, could I go vegan for a week? And I went vegan for a week, and I was like, well, I did it, but that sucks. So I was like, so can I go vegetarian for a little bit and just not eat animal products, right? But still do dairy, like, but just not actually eat meat. Yeah. And I did it for a long time. And at first I felt really good, you know?
Yeah.
And as long as you got everything balanced out, you're solid, you know, and your energy will go up. But even if you have a meat-based diet, as long as you like balance it right, you're going to feel that way. And everybody's different. Some people will, I don't know, like skin can clear up on a vegetarian diet. On other people, skin can clear up on a carnivore diet, you know? So it's you kind of work with it. But I had a lot of energy and I learned what it was when I went to not eating meat, it cut out a lot of fast food for me. Right.
Yeah, man.
And processed food. And that's when you realize that that's the one that kind of, you know, wears you down a little bit.
Makes you feel like crap and your body not work right, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I like Brett Hess. He says I'm whatever, mostly vegan and seafood is called.
Pescatarian.
There you go.
That's what that's called. I went when I transitioned out of vegetarianism, I went to pescatarian. Yeah. And then literally like at the beginning of this year, I started poultry. So I haven't gone back to eating mammals yet. So I haven't had any steaks or real burgers. I've had chicken burgers, turkey burgers, veggie burgers, Impossible Whoppers, things like that. But I'm eventually actually going to even open it back up to beef. But even before I went vegetarian, I did a kosher diet for a while where I didn't do shellfish and I didn't do pork. Right. Yeah. And it's just a willpower thing.
I like that, man. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. It's just a thing. It's just a thing you do, you know, just change, just find a habit, something you've held on to for a while, and then just switch it one day and just be like, you got to commit to it wholeheartedly. I recently did this with Spawn, right? It's a silly thing. I grew up hating Spawn, never liked Spawn, always talk shit about Spawn. Every time I would read anything Spawn, I would find everything that I hated about it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm going to be a Spawn fan.
Yeah.
And so I started reading Spawn again as if I'm a fan, right? Like act committed. Be like, if you're going to go vegetarian, be like, I don't like meat. Don't just be like, well, I'm not going to eat meat. It's, you know, just change if you can easily change back and forth whenever you want to.
Yeah.
The world has less effect on you. Does that make sense?
That's very much so, man. I like that because there's tons of stuff that I have issues with, and music, for instance. I remember being a snob of certain music. You know, my sisters were all into a lot of grunge in the late 90s, and I'm like, I hate that stuff because you guys like it. And forever, I just would not listen to like Nirvana. I would not listen to Nirvana, you know?
Yeah.
And one day I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Like, there's probably some good Nirvana stuff. And I'm just a big old snob about it because somebody that listened to it or some moment in my life, it just didn't jive,
Yeah.
And so now I'm like listening to a ton of stuff that I had just said, nope, I don't want nothing to do with. And has it expanded my horizons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a good thing to do. It really is. And just let it go. Like right now, I'm struggling with one though. I decided, because I hate ketchup. I hate ketchup so much. And so I tried to like ketchup, right? And at first it was okay, and then like 2 weeks into it, I was like, nah, I can't do this. Ketchup's the worst. I can't. I can't do out of everything in my life. The one thing I can't change is my distaste for ketchup.
It's all right, man. I think ketchup is good for two things and two things only: hot dogs and meatloaf.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's kind of weird.
I'll give you the meatloaf, but the hot dog, oh no, I can't do that. I can't.
What do you put on your hot dog, man?
Oh man, many things.
Yeah.
My favorite hot dog is probably just simply mustard and onion, right? I like that. Mustard, onion, and sauerkraut. That's the New York dog.
Cool.
I love that. I'm a big Yankees fan. So that's the New York Yankees hot dog. It's a just spicy brown mustard, grilled onions.
Yes.
And that's the sauerkraut. Yeah, a little bit of sauerkraut.
Yeah.
But I like the Chicago dogs. I like the Seattle dog, which actually has cream cheese and jalapenos, like fresh cut jalapenos.
No way.
So I'll put almost anything on my hot dog except for ketchup. But if you have the American classic, I still will eat one of those every so often. It's my least favorite, but it's the ketchup, mustard, and relish, right? Yeah. But I'm a big mustard guy. I really am. I don't like sweet sauces, so ketchup's a little too sweet for me.
Makes sense. I love a good bratwurst. I'm not a big hot dog fan, but I love bratwurst and just mustard and grilled onions. Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah.
But my favorite food is actually going to be sushi, man. Are you a sushi fan?
Oh, I love sushi.
Yes.
It's one of the reasons why I was only a vegetarian for a little bit. And that was the first crack was I was like, man, I need to get some sushi.
I need sushi.
Yeah. And I went to Heroes Con last year. And at the bottom of our hotel in Charlotte, North Carolina, there was this baller ass sushi place. And we ate there every night. And I had so much fun. Dude, drinking Japanese beer and eating sushi.
And sake. So my favorite restaurant in town is a sushi restaurant. And they were closed until this Monday. And so I've already eaten out there twice, man. I'm going, man. I miss it. I miss it, man. So Brett Hess, man, I feel the same way, brother. I could eat sushi daily. There's so much. The greatest thing I've ever tasted, like single greatest thing I've ever tasted in my life, is salmon sashimi with some lemon on it and some soy sauce. I mean, there's nothing that's touched my taste buds that I've been like, every time I'm like, God exists.
Sushi's the great. I mean, I'm a big wasabi guy too. I just love spice. I consider myself a little bit of a spice lord. Nice. I've eaten a Carolina Reaper. That video is on the channel if anybody wants to check it out.
My gosh.
It sucked, but I did it. I love really, really hot things. And, wasabi gets you in the sinuses, right?
Yeah.
So we used to do these, we used to live right next door back in the bachelor pad days. It was me and two of my friends, and we used to live right next to this Chinese buffet, and it had a sushi bar. Mm-hmm. And so we would order these giant trays, and we would have wasabi offs, and we would see who could put the most wasabi on their sushi. And I always won. But one day it really felt like a brick in my stomach. But I love it. I think the taste of wasabi and fresh fish like that and soy is just
umami.
It does not get better than that, man.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. I love it. I'm excited. I'm hungry now.
Now I want some sushi.
Every time we go out of town, no matter where we go, I always look for a hibachi grill.
Yes.
So I mean, like, it's like our tradition. We're in California, hibachi grill. We went to New York, hibachi grill. We went to Wisconsin to see the Packers play. Hibachi grill, man. No matter where we go as a family now, we always got to eat at a hibachi place. And then I get my sushi, check it out, but man, one thing I'd love to do, and the wife and I always talk about it, is once our 7 kiddos are gone and doing their own thing, we're going to travel the world. And I told her I'm going to eat sushi everywhere.
Hell yeah, right?
That's what I want,
There might be some places I wouldn't recommend it, but
yeah, I agree.
Could you imagine what it's like being in Japan eating fresh sushi, like near the water?
Yep.
Because like when I go down to Florida and you eat seafood, like there was this place. It's in, I think it was in Pompano Beach. It was when I went to South Florida a while ago.
Mhm.
But it was this place, and it's literally on the beach, right? And they have a dock out there, and that was the freshest seafood. I had this blackened mahi, and I had these clams, and it was so fresh and beautiful. It was amazing, man.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Have you ever seen the documentary Hito Dreams of Sushi?
I have heard about it, but I've never seen it.
And you should, if you love sushi, watch it, man, because Brett has you too. It's this story of this guy that's owned a sushi restaurant now for 60 years plus. He's super old. I'm not sure. It came out a long time ago, so I'm not even sure if he's still alive. But it shows how he goes every single morning down to the dock. He picks the best fish, takes it to his shop, and when you go in there, you don't get an order. He has different like combinations, and he says, these are the different prices, pick it, and then I will serve you what I think is the best. And then like the restaurant itself is sold out. I mean, sold out. It's booked until like 6 months in advance.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just this great story, and he shows you the fish, and oh my gosh, man, he's watched it twice, Brett has. Yeah, baby. Yeah, eel, man, a good dragon roll. Oof.
I don't mind eel. It's the eel sauce sometimes I don't like. It depends on where I'm at.
Yeah.
It depends on where I'm at. But usually the sauce served with it, I'm like, I either like it or I really don't. I'm never in the middle of the road with that one.
Yeah. I think that one's my favorite. Eel sauce. I don't know. Every time I go in, I'll order something different. Like I try to rotate so I get a taste of everything, you know, and then sometimes I'll add different things together. And but man, gosh. Hey, what's up, House Till the End? Salmon teriyaki bento box. Delicious.
All right, man. This is the part of the show where I'm like, okay, I got to dip out for a moment. So you can either dip out with me or you can just continue chatting with everybody about sushi if you want. I'll be right back home.
Yeah. So let's see. Chewy Brain. It is Hiro. Jiro. I think. Maybe it's Hiro. Hold on, let me look it up. Hiro Dreams of Sushi. I think it's H. Yeah, no, it's J. Jiro Dreams of Sushi. Check that out. It's such an incredible documentary. Salmon's my favorite. I absolutely love salmon. House Till the End. So I could put that on anything and everything and just eat the heck out of it. Yeah, seriously, Brett, I am so hungry now, and now I'm craving sushi, and I'm gonna have to go there tomorrow and get some more sushi. Yeah, Hiro. So let's see. Tree Brain says there's similar documentary about ramen. Oh man, I'm telling you, I had a really particular palate when I was younger, and I was actually allergic to fish. And I should Herminio, I'll tell in a second. And just growing up, I could never eat fish. I'd always my mouth would get all swollen and everything. And then maybe I was like 23, and my best friend, who actually lives up in Washington State, real close to Seattle, he came down here, moved down here so he could work with me. And he's like, hey, have you ever had sushi? And I'm like, nah, I don't want to try it. He's like, come with me. And I went, and it kind of looked disgusting to me. And then he's like, just eat the most plain thing that you can. And it's called a California roll. So I ate a California roll, and I was like, oh, that's good. It's good stuff. And I didn't know. A couple days later, I'm craving a California roll again. So over time, I just started trying new things. I remember the first time I tried sashimi, stuck it in my mouth, felt like a tongue in my mouth. You know, I was like, what is this stuff? Like I was gagging and everything. Couple weeks later, I'm lying in bed, and all of a sudden my glands in my mouth just start going off, and I'm just all of a sudden out of nowhere craving salmon, you know. And I just fell in love with that stuff. I mean, I just absolutely cannot get enough sushi. So Brett Hess, if we're ever in the same area, man, we got to go get some sushi together. That'd be really good.
Yeah, I want sushi now, and I'm like, it's 9:00 here. There are no good sushi places open in my town after 9. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, everything's still closing here like around 7 or 8. So tomorrow it is for me, man.
Yeah, I'm going to get sushi tomorrow. You just wait and see. It's payday too. I'm going all out, man.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
So being a child in the 80s, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Were there any of those 80 properties that you were really into, say like Masters of the Universe, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Silverhawks, Thundercats, Nerd Turtles, anything like that?
Huge. First two shows I can ever remember watching, as far back as my memory goes, are Masters of the Universe and G.I. Joe, man.
Hell yeah.
Like those two, I had all the toys. I remember I had the, like the ships and the vehicles. And I mean, gosh, dude, I love G.I. Joe. I still have tons of G.I. Joe toys unopened in my storage. You know what I mean? Like G.I. Joe, amazing. My mom said she told me the story. I don't remember it at all, but she's like, man, you would play with Masters of the Universe. And I have 5 sisters. So I would take my toys and I would chop off all the Barbie's heads with like He-Man's sword. And my mom's like, you're too violent. You can't be playing with He-Man. So she actually stopped allowing me to watch He-Man on TV and stuff because she thought I was being violent,
Yeah, right.
Young mom, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a boy. Come on. I'm not going to sit there and play Barbies with my sisters and just, kiss each other and sit down and have tea. I'm a boy. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
I remember growing up and being jealous sometimes of girls' toys. I was like, man, they get these dream houses. They're so elaborate. We get these crappy play sets, but we had some good ones with Gray Skull and Snake Mountain. I recently we got in Snake Mountain at my shop, and I was like, claim. So there's a Snake Mountain coming down the pipeline. It just got to be cleaned and put together, and
dude, do you remember that huge aircraft carrier that G.I. Joe's made?
Yes, the USS Flag.
Dude, oh my gosh, man. I never had it, but I had a friend that had it.
Oh, man.
It's insane, man.
That rich kid in the neighborhood.
That one rich kid in the neighborhood.
Yeah, right. I never knew anybody that had the Flag, but one came into the shop probably about 4 to 5 years ago.
Really?
And it was complete, dude. So me and my homie Mike, for the most part, Mike's part of the PCP crew.
Yeah.
And we put it together, and he made this. Oh my goodness. He stayed up all night. He put it together, and he had all these Joes because we bought this entire G.I. Joe collection. And he had like the jets on there and people like running towards the jets and Cobra like landing in. And he had this whole scene, and it was covered in Joes and vehicles. And it was amazing. And that lasted like 20 minutes till someone was like, how much? I want it. So we're like, let's take it apart.
Do you remember how much you guys sold that for? Because that had to go for a lot.
I do not remember, but it was probably, I'm pretty sure it was over $1,000, if not just $1,000, but it was very pricey.
Sheesh, man, that's amazing.
Yeah, and even if I wanted to have one of those, even if I could afford to spend the money on that, I literally wouldn't have. That's 6 feet long. Like it was in front of our new comic book wall. It was so long.
No space. Yeah.
Yeah, and we had signs up like "Don't touch," because we're like, you just touched the wrong thing and it collapses. Right? It's a beautiful piece. I had a friend that had the Terradrome or the Terradome or whatever.
Yeah.
And I had a friend that had the. They had like that shuttle, like space launch place set or whatever. Yeah. I never had that though.
Have you seen that Netflix show, the Toys That Made Us?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
That shows my heart, you know. Yeah. Even the Barbie episode was interesting, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, man, like I used to be ticked off when my sisters would play Barbies because, like you said, they had all the van and the house that opens up, you know, and they're always making me be Skipper, and I'm like, I want to be Barbie, you know.
Yeah, right. You're Skipper. You're the little sis.
I just want to be Barbie for once. It's crazy. Yeah, but I mean, man, like my childhood is really made up of playing sports outdoors and playing with action figures in my room. You know, because having the 5 sisters, we'd get together and play a lot, but like I was alone, the only guy, and my sisters were doing girl things. And I was like, man, yeah, pink Corvettes for sure.
You're the dream car, man.
Gosh, man, I'd sit in my room.
I still want one. Put the Terminator in it.
Yeah, man, for real. But now, as time went on, man, I fell in love with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then, of course, Batman, Spider-Man. Like when Batman animated series was out in the early 90s and stuff, like, my goodness, man, Thundercats was great. something I got into that not many people got into as early as I did was Dragon Ball Z.
Okay.
So when I was probably like 6, I had a little Japanese neighbor. And this little kid, every time I go to his house, it was like being transformed, like going into a portal, because the Japanese culture was so different than the Hispanic culture that I was used to. You'd go in the house, it would smell different. They were speaking Japanese, which I didn't understand, totally foreign. And as a 6-year-old, you're like, what's happening? Yeah. But it was wonderful, man. And I remember sitting down and we're going to play with guns or something. And then Dragon Ball came on his TV. And I mean, this is like 89. And I'm like, what is this? Like, I've never seen this before. Like, and
I didn't even know what anime was. I didn't even know Japan made cartoons in 1989.
Right? Man, I mean, gosh, man. And I just fell in love with it. And then another of my friends, he had cousins that lived in Spain. And I guess in Spain, in a certain area, there is a huge Japanese population.
Okay.
And so his cousins lived in that area, and they would air Dragon Ball Z in Japanese on TV, and his cousins loved it, and so they would record it on VHS and they'd send it to him here in the States. And so we'd always be waiting, like, I mean, I'm talking like this is now like 1995, 1994. We'd be waiting for the huge box to come from Spain, and then we would just watch Dragon Ball in Japanese like all night long, all day long, man, and just finish it until the VHS tapes were done,
That's awesome. Did you ever pick up a little bit of Japanese because of that?
Oh, a little bit. Yeah, I did, man. I loved it so much that I would start speaking Skoshi and a little bit of Japanese. Yeah. Right. So I would speak a little bit of Japanese and stuff. And then I got my little cousin into it. She's a little girl cousin. She's probably, how old is she? She's probably like 10 years younger than me. Okay. And she ended up falling in love with it. And then she took it all throughout high school, became fluent. And then she went on a mission for our church to preach the gospel over in Japan. And then she lived there for 2 years. And now she works here back in the States for a company using Japanese every day. She's like a bit. She's
that's cool, man.
Language, man. So she always is like calling me up and saying stuff in Japanese. When she lived there, she brought me all kinds of Dragon Ball stuff back from the stores and everything. Wow. And yeah, I got like this little Dragon Ball chilling right here.
Yeah.
It's from Japan, man.
Dude, that's so cool. Some of my favorite toys are from Japan. I'm big into Power Rangers.
Oh, cool, man.
And Power Rangers led me into Super Sentai, right?
Yeah.
And Super Sentai led me out of Power Rangers. Aside from the comic books, I don't even watch Power Rangers anymore. I watch Super Sentai. I love the hell out of it. And I'll tell you this, their toys, oh my goodness, they blow the American versions out of the water. Like just they are amazing. And I love all that stuff. Kamen Rider, Space Sheriff Gavin, of course, Super Sentai. I love
dude, that's awesome.
I just love it.
My friend that I watched the Japanese shows at his house, his big brothers, they're much older than us, man. And they always had all the Japanese toys. And they just fell in love with it because their cousins had introduced it to them. And since they had lots of money, they were already working and all kinds of stuff, man. They had the coolest Robotech figures. I mean, they just had all kinds of stuff. And I'd go to their house and they're like, don't touch my stuff. Because, we like go in and look at it, Oh, man, I agree. Those Japanese toys were. So, I mean, like, dude, I grew up like having a huge battle royale in my room on Saturday mornings. Yeah. And I set up the Millennium Falcon and Luke in one section. I'd have Goku and Vegeta over here. I'd have Batman and Spider-Man. Like I'd have the whole room set up with every character I could think of that I had. And I'd just go at it for hours in my imagination, man. Those were some great days.
Me and my friends would do drafts. We'd like set out our heroes and villains, and we'd pick teams, and then we'd act out a story, and we'd always argue, like, no, this is what's going to happen. That's you'd argue. And I used to actually, when I would play by myself, I would write out entire seasons of stories. And so I would beforehand, this is super nerdy, right? But I would write out 12 episodes of a season of Marvel and DC heroes versus He-Man or something like. I would just write it all out, and then I would act it all out as if I was making a movie. And Masters of the Universe is one of my favorite ones too.
Yeah.
And I've never really taken the jump into collecting a lot of vintage Motu stuff because it's so expensive. It's even got more expensive. I got a bug up my ass the other day. I was like, I want a faker figure, right? So I get on eBay. How much is a complete faker figure, right? You know, the blue He-Man, right?
Yeah.
$75 complete. And I'm like, okay, never mind, right?
Wow.
But I just recently bought these Super 7 remakes of them. They're kind of right behind me right there.
Oh yeah, I see them.
Those are super cool. But the Battle Cat I just got, that's a vintage Battle Cat right there. Because they didn't make a Battle Cat for that. But I do have some vintage ones. I have Manny Faces was one of my favorite ones.
Yes.
I loved the Horde. I actually have some of them right here.
Dude,
There's
that's
my
awesome.
Grizzlor, my Leech, and that's the Buzzsaw Hordak, of course, without the cape, crossbow, or the Buzzsaw. I actually today, before we went online, I went on eBay and I was like, how much is the Buzzsaw attachment for this thing right here?
Yeah.
$50.
Dang, man.
Just for the Buzzsaw that goes in his chest. And I was like, damn.
Yeah, it gets expensive, man.
But one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I'll tell you what, that imagination has really played well for me as a father of 7 kids, man. Like,
I bet
we have had some epic battles at this home with our toys. You know what I'm saying, man? And some of my favorite moments with my kids as they're growing up is introducing them to Dragon Ball or to Spider-Man, you know, or Batman, and sitting there and watching it with them for the first time and seeing their reaction, and sitting down on a Sunday morning and just playing with action figures for 5-6 hours, you know, and going out in the yard and having Nerf wars, man. Just all the stuff I did with my buddies as a kid, doing them with my own kids. It's just the best, you know what I'm saying?
That's gotta be fun, you know. And let's go ahead and address this. Your YouTube channel tag, your stage name is TheBoyWhoHad7.
Yeah.
And that's literally, I remember the day that Bueller goes, I think it was on that first stream, he goes, he's called TheBoyWhoHad7 because he has 7 freaking kids. And I was like, holy cow. Yeah. I thought that just meant the boy who had 7 keys or something like that. You know?
Right. He's got 7 great keys, man. That's it. No more, no less. No, man, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. Harry Potter fan. So the first chapter of the first book is titled The Boy Who Lived. It's Harry's nickname, right? And so I was trying to do play on like of The Boy Who Lived when I started my YouTube channel. And then my son, who was like probably 8 at the time, he's like, Dad, you got 7 kids. Why don't you say The Boy Who Had 7? So the boy who lived and you had 7 kids. And he just straight up put that together, man.
That's awesome.
That's it, dude. That's my name. I'm rolling with it, you know?
Yeah, so that's great.
Yeah, man. I mean, I guess I don't know if I said this earlier when we were talking backstage or on the stream, but I married my high school sweetheart, man. So I met my wife when she was 14. I was 16. And we've been together since then. And we got married 2 days after we graduated high school, and we just started having kids, man, you know? That's
magical, man.
Oh yeah. It's been the best life I could ask for. She's the best friend I have in the world, man. And it's like the other day, have you ever seen the show Princess Mononoke?
Yes. I love that movie.
Yeah, amazing movie. I just showed it to my kids for the first time.
Nice.
And I don't know why I hadn't showed it to him before, but it just popped in my brain like two weeks ago. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I've never showed my kids this, you know? So I bought it. We sat down and watched it. And my goodness, man, they were just like enamored. And my son, he's been coming up to me. He's like, and we were talking about politics earlier. And he's 17. And he came up to me. He's like, you know, Princess Mononoke has a lot of metaphor in it, a lot of meaning, you know, like he was possessed or got hurt by this demon in his arm that whole time. That demon's in his arm, this hate. And he's like, that's what's going on with our country right now. You know, you see so many people that are poisoned. And he's telling me this whole thing because he watched Princess Mononoke and how it's relating to what we're going through right now. And I'm like,
who says it's just subtext? I mean, who says it's just escapism? It's subtext too, man.
It's real, bro. It's so real. The world would be so much worse off without fiction and without art, you know?
Yeah.
So it was great. It was so great, man, to see him do that and to talk with him a while and see how his brain works and stuff, man. So
yeah. I don't have any kids, and I got 2 cats and a dog, and it feels sometimes like I have kids. I'm sure my lady will think that it feels like she has a kid too, because you know. But
yes.
I hear from
the same thing, bro. So
yeah, right. I hear from my friends that do have kids that it's especially my friends that have a good relationship with their kids.
Yeah.
is because I also have friends that don't have a good relationship with their kids, right?
Yeah.
But the ones that do, they enjoy it's almost like rediscovering your childhood through your children. You know, like you're introducing them. And that's what's so cool about generational franchises like Star Wars or the Marvel or DC stuff. Like those are things that transcend generations. DBZ, you know, Dragon Ball stuff's getting into that now.
Yeah.
And I think that's super, super cool. So is that a factor in it? Like you kind of get to re-experience it through their eyes?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the whole excitement of it, because I've literally watched Dragon Ball Z from beginning to end more than 10 times, man. Like it is
that's commitment, Matt. That's commitment.
Brother, I love Dragon. My favorite character of all time, if you had held the gun to my head and I had to pick any franchise, anything, is Vegeta. He's my absolute favorite, man. I've got like 15 Vegetas in this office, you know. So, but yeah, like, so I know it. I could watch the show and know exactly what they're gonna say next and what's coming. But when I sit down and man, I'm gonna get emotional here, bro. Woo, getting choked up for just a second. I remember my oldest, man, and when he was like barely learning to walk, I'd always be like, Kame, and I'd throw it at him, you know. And he just a baby barely walking, he'd be like, like right back at me, you know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that, man. It's just sitting there watching them watch it and experience it, and seeing Gohan turn second stage for the first time, or watching Spider-Man jump off of a building and swing, like, and then seeing my kids. One of the best things ever was Wonder Woman, man. Watching my three daughters in the movie theater. I literally stopped watching the screen because it was so cold. I'm like, I got to see what my kids are thinking. And I look down in the dark, and my three daughters are like this, like looking at this superhero that's a female like them. Whew. Yeah. Sorry, man.
And to have that sense of that could be me.
Yep.
You know, and I think that's super, super cool.
Yeah, man.
That's amazing. And I remember one time we were on one of those gym streams, and you were talking about, I don't even remember what book it was, but you were talking about when your daughter's reading it and loving it.
Yeah.
And how much that meant to you. And that's super, super freaking cool, man.
Yeah. Jane Foster.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And they're always talking about, kids aren't getting into books and all that kind of stuff too. Well, maybe they're not reading the comic books all the time, but like it's a big deal when they see Wonder Woman. It's a big deal when they see Black Panther. You know, that's a big deal. It's as big of a deal to me when I saw Batman on the screen, you know? Yeah. And I could never be Batman. I'm not that rich, obviously. We're trying really hard, but it's just not going to happen. Nobody's got that level, right?
Oh man.
That's super cool, man. And that's why I like the generational stuff. And that's why sometimes it gets on my nerves when like Star Wars is one of those generational franchises, right?
Yep.
And you hear people talk so much smack, and I'm like, yo, I get what you're saying. You grew up, you love these movies. So did I, right?
Yep.
Then the prequels happened, right? We had to deal with it, right? Just deal with this too, because there are people now that are like in their 20s that were like, oh man, the first Star Wars I ever watched was Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones. And it spawned this like imagination inside of me, and it got me thinking, and it got me like into fantasy, into artwork, and like, yeah. So like, it's not always about us, you know, it's sometimes it's about other people, including, and I think that's super, super cool.
I love when we're so passionate about something that when it doesn't come out the way we imagine it to come out, that we can discuss it.
Yeah.
As long as we stay civil, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Because I was born in 1983, and after Return of the Jedi came out, but I grew up watching those Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
And I remember, because I have a little sister that was 4 years younger than me, and she was like, I had to protect her always. We had this relationship. She did everything with me. We'd be playing tackle football at the park. My little sister would be tackling the guys and getting tackled. Like, we went out ringing and running in the middle of the night. My little sister's ringing and running with us, running down the street. Like, she was just like my best friend, you know?
Yeah.
But as soon as I saw Darth Vader and he's like talking to Luke, and he's like, a sister, you have a sister. If you won't turn to the dark side, then maybe she will. You know that scene?
Yeah.
Dude, I remember just sitting there being like Luke, get him, dude, stop him. He can't get your sister. You know what I mean? And those movies, man, were just so amazing. But then there was no more Star Wars, except for in my imagination when I was playing with my toys.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, 1999, they're going to tell us the story of Anakin Skywalker and how he became Darth Vader. And bro, I camped out in line at Tinseltown for 4 days so that we get tickets. You know what I mean? Like my oldest sister was in college.
Yeah.
And I was a freshman in high school, and I'm like, let's go, you know? And I know that a lot of people were let down by those, but for me, it was just like this. I'm a freshman, like this is it. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I love that we can look at something and it can have affected us so much.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm right there with you. I've been disappointed by film adaptations of my favorite stuff either. Like, my favorite superhero comic book is Fantastic Four. Do you think I've ever been satisfied with the Fantastic Four movie? Hell no, right? You know what I'm saying? So, at least you have some good Star Wars movies that you like. You know, I don't really have any good Fantastic Four movies. I have to find bits and pieces of them that I think I think I could cut together a really good Fantastic Four movie out of all of them, including the Roger Corman one. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's that you can't describe what it. I mean, it's so weird because there's so much hate for, especially the Star Wars prequels. You know, not even talking about the sequels, whatever, right? Who cares about that? That's still too fresh, really, right? But the prequels, right? You know, everybody's like, oh, Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, blah 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 blah. Man, in 1999, dude, I was so pumped for Phantom Menace to come out. I bought all the toys. I ate Taco Bell every day so I could get a new poster, so I could put the montage together. I had a Darth Maul. I had 2 Darth Maul posters in my room. Didn't even ever see this dude on film yet. Right. I loved it so much. I was ready. And when we all first watched Phantom Menace, we came out of it really happy, you know? Yeah. And I worked at a movie theater at the time. Yeah. And it was a magical time. We had movies like Jurassic Park and the Batman films, but when Star Wars came back, dude, that was like, it felt like we were part of something special.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, man.
And dude, we all came to that movie really liking it. And then later on, we got to pick it apart.
Yeah.
But I still like Phantom Menace. I really do, because it reminds me of that. It reminds me of the 8 months I spent before that movie came out, just fixated on it and reading all the prequel comics that they were writing and all that kind of stuff. Attack of the Clones is weak. Revenge of the Sith's pretty BA in my opinion, but
I agree.
Yeah.
Attack of the Clones best scene is probably Yoda and oh, look at me going.
What, Dooku?
Yeah, Dooku, man.
The fight, yeah.
The fact that Yoda can move like that, you know, it just blew my mind. But oh, dude,
and you're like, why are you holding back, Yoda? Why are you holding back, man?
Yep. Darth Maul, that scene with the music. Dun, 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 dun. I mean, come on, dude. I got goosebumps right now.
I know, right? I still got my Darth Maul lightsaber from back in the day. Yeah, that you just flip open. And that was my first experience with a movie spoiler, too. I was so pumped for this shit, right? Yeah. That I bought the John Williams score. And the title of one of the songs is The Death of Qui-Gon. And I went, what? Yeah. and I knew. I was like, Liam Neeson dies? I was like, no. Dude. Darth Maul, by the way, one of the most wasted characters in Star Wars in the movies. You know, they really got to expand his role out a little bit more in the comic books, but of course in Clone Wars and Rebels, right?
Yep.
But Darth Maul, it's just so cool looking, man.
Dude, he was the coolest guy.
And we never had really, let's be honest, we never had really good, badass, you know, choreographed lightsaber battles until Phantom Menace.
Oh yeah. I watch Star Wars now, and I see Vader and Obi-Wan, and and I'm just like, but back then it was amazing.
Meanwhile, 15 minutes before in Rogue One, Darth Vader's doing all this crazy shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. I'll tell you what, in Revenge of the Sith, the most painful moment I've ever had in a movie theater where it broke my heart is when Anakin goes into the temple
Oh man.
And he's gonna kill the younglings. Dude, I sobbed like a baby. Nothing could stop me, dude. I was just like, I can't handle this. How can Anakin do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. I still think one of the best lightsaber battles in any of those movies is at the end of Revenge of the Sith, and it's Anakin and Obi-Wan. But that moment when Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor is doing such a great job in that scene because his voice is breaking, his soul is breaking. He goes, "You are my brother, Anakin," you know, and it breaks your heart. And that's the moment where it finally, like, you know, maybe he kind of wasted some time to get there. But
dude, even when Anakin, I hate you, you know, like God. You just
because you know he's lost, he's gone, he's done, he's gone. Yeah, right. And he bursts on flames, and he's just and he's blaming somebody else, you know, for his mistakes.
Yep.
And God, man,
yeah,
I really like Revenge of the Sith. That scene when the Emperor's talking to Anakin at the opera or whatever, and there's like really sinister music going on, and I think it's John Williams's best score on a Star Wars film is that one. I think awesome. I really do.
And
I do not like Attack of the Clones very much, though. But I do hate sand. You know, it's coarse, and it gets everywhere.
Yep. No, I appreciate all of it, man. I'm really easy to please. Out of all the Star Wars films that we've had, there's only been one that I'm just not a fan of, man. And,
what's that?
I've The Last Jedi.
Really?
The Last Jedi. I watched it again the other day for the first time since the theater, and I'm like, I'm going to throw out everything I've heard about it. I'm going to throw out all the hate. I just want to watch it and see what I think. Yeah. Cinematography is amazing, especially that last scene when they're on the salt planet.
I think it's the best looking Star Wars film, 100%.
I agree. Like the cinematography, but there's just so much that I just don't agree with where they took Luke, because being a kid, Luke was the New Hope. Luke is the guy that will never lose hope. Luke is the guy that would never try to kill a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just, for me, I was just like,
you just thought about it. Okay. We all thought about it.
I know, man. But like, I don't hate on it, man. I just don't enjoy. I didn't enjoy it as much. The last one though, I was like, wow, this is great. I went to the theater, like I said, saying I'm just gonna enjoy it. It's Star Wars. Enough of the hate, enough of everything. I just want to enjoy it, you know. And I really loved that one. I rewatched it all three of them, and man, it's Star Wars, man. I just love Star Wars. I just do.
I do like Last Jedi. There was a moment where I thought that it was my favorite, and then but then I rewatched them all, and I was like, yeah, it's not better than Empire, but it's definitely got some definite like structure issues. That whole thing where they go to the casino planet, like I appreciate it, but like
could have done without.
That's kind of like, it really slows down the movie. I really like the sense of hopelessness that they get in that movie. And I like how that corresponds to the idea that Luke was a New Hope at one time, you know? And I like the idea that every story will end the way you want it to end if you end it at the right moment. But everybody's story continues. Like somebody doesn't become a hero at the age of 20 and maintain, like, you know, even Moses struck the rock. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So every hero has that moment of doubt, that moment where they give up. And what I like about Last Jedi is that it is about a Luke that's done that. And it seems almost out of character, right? Yeah, but it's all because of his distaste for what he did, his distaste for choosing sides, you know? And I think maybe they could have, I think they could have done a better job in those movies of laying out what the New Hope was supposed to be. I feel like they never quite got Rey to catch on like Luke did. But Luke was whiny and obnoxious, just like Anakin was.
Uncle Ben.
But I mean, I love the character of Luke too. But what I do like about that movie is that by the end of that film, he was like, "I'm wrong." Yeah, you know, and he did, in my opinion. And I know it's not popular, but I'm cool with having unpopular movie opinions. Yeah. But I think that when he came back and he force projected himself out there at the end of that film, I think that's literally like the most badass thing we've ever seen a Jedi do in any of these movies.
Cool. It's cool, man.
He even did the dirt off your shoulders thing, and I didn't think it was lame. Because anybody else, like if Kylo Ren did that, you're like, come on, bro.
Oh, man, I did not like. So I hated the way that Kylo Ren looked like such a weak sauce when he took off his mask.
Oh, it lost me the moment he takes off that mask.
Because, dude, the way that the first one starts and he
holds that force bolt. Oh my god!
Oh my gosh, yeah. The whole time he's talking, and then he leaves, and it's like, boom, you know,
and the voice, and everything. Then he takes off the mask, and you're just like, he's just, I don't know, he's like,
it's a big crybaby.
He is, but that's the Skywalker legacy for you. I'll tell you that much.
But I will say I liked the arc the second time, or the first time I was able to watch all three of them on DVD.
Yeah.
Or actually I had to watch the last one on digital, but still, like, watching them back to back, I really liked the arc of his character.
Yeah.
And I liked you know, I was really bummed out when he passed away, man. I was just I should have said spoilers probably long enough now though.
Everybody's seen that movie. If they haven't, they don't want to.
But I was just like, no, they did not just kill Ben. He just turned into Ben. He's back.
But he felt like they had to, because really, the biggest problem with those movies, the new ones, is that all they do is mimic the structure of the original.
Yep.
And so you're like, well, he's the Vader, so he's going to. I called this from the beginning. He's going to redeem himself in the third movie. He's going to die. Yeah. And they did it. And I think Adam Driver did a great job with that character. It was nice to see a character. You always see these Star Wars characters being good and struggling with their dark side. Yeah. It was really interesting to see someone who was committed to the dark side struggling with his light side.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought that was a really interesting take on it. So
when they were fighting on the spaceship in the ocean and him and Rey were going at it, I knew the whole time, like, his dad's going to show up. I could just feel it, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then as soon as he turns around, his dad's there, like Han Solo. I was just like, oh, I'm done, dude. I'm an emotional guy, dude. You can tell him that. Like,
that can be too.
Major leakage for me, man.
There's some great emotional moments in Star Wars, and like we were talking about in Revenge of the Sith, and the other one is in the first one after Luke's aunt and uncle die, and he goes off and he's like looking at the sun, and the music swells up.
Oh man!
And he makes that commitment to go on the hero's journey.
Yep.
And that's a moment we all have to have, where we have to leave something behind and it's painful.
Yep.
But you got to do it. You got to take the chance, rise up to the mountain, and then descend with knowledge. You know what I'm saying? You gotta kind of make that journey.
Oh yeah.
And Star Wars is the hero's journey.
Yep.
And one cool thing, I guess, about the prequels is they kind of invert it a little bit. But it could have been more nuanced. I don't think George Lucas is the most talented writer Hollywood's ever had. But,
he came up with an amazing world.
Yes.
And one of the greatest worlds ever made.
Yes. And it's continued. And he's a toy genius.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
he was the first. It was him. Like, there would be no McFarlane toys if not for George Lucas. You know, like the way that he set up that deal, he made all of his Star Wars money pretty much on toys, man.
Oh, I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on Star Wars.
Right. I saw Brett had posted earlier. We were talking about He-Man and Turtles, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I feel old." It was all Micronauts and Star Wars for me. Well, I had those too. In fact, I'm a huge Micronauts fan because I inherited Micronauts and Star Wars toys, but I never got to see them on shelves. You know, I saw Masters of the Universe on shelves. I saw Silverhawks on shelves.
Yeah.
I saw Thundercats on shelves and G.I. Joe and Transformers. Transformers were always a little too expensive for us, but I was a big GoBots fan. Here's my Leader 1 right here. I still have. It's all busted up though. Oh, that's awesome. Leader 1 from GoBots.
You know what? Going to Toys R Us in the 90s, man, was the greatest thing for a kid.
Wasn't it not? Especially when they brought back Star Wars toys for Power of the Force.
yeah, man. It's just absolutely awesome.
And if you look back on the replay and you notice there's maybe some thumbs downs, it's not because of you, homie. It's because I was talking about Star Wars. You can't talk about Star Wars on YouTube without getting some thumbs downs.
you know what, dude? I would have loved to see in Rogue One, which would have made it. So I know a lot of people like get frustrated with this idea of Star Wars is all about the lightsabers, but to me it is. the battles in my room, in my brain, were the greatest lightsaber battles ever, you know? And I would have loved to see Darth Vader at the end of Rogue One have a battle. And I can't remember the character's name, but I'm one with the Force, and the Force is one with me. The blind guy.
Yes.
Imagine if him and Vader.
Is his name Donnie Yen, or am I wrong? Okay.
Yeah. But imagine him and Vader had like a little battle, man.
And then he dies, and you care about it. Like I don't know. I didn't really. I'm one of the few out there that didn't like Rogue One, because I felt like I already know what the ending's going to be, and they never made me care. They never made me care about the characters.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people liked it. But I liked Solo better than that one.
Oh,
but I know a lot of people didn't. Solo's a great like train heist Western.
Yep.
That's exactly what it is. And it does it in like, he shoots first, right? He's a smart ass. Lando is a pimp. Like, I don't understand why people don't like this film. This film's awesome. It's gritty. It shows you that darker side of it. Like, I think Star Wars, what happened is in the prequels, they got a little, George Lucas had kids, and there's a different priority as a storyteller.
Yeah.
At times, once you have kids, you're trying to, it's not just about what you're trying to say. And basically Star Wars was just his love of those Kurosawa films. I don't know if you're a big Kurosawa film fan, but like Seven Samurai and Yojimbo and Hidden Fortress and Star Wars are like, you could almost parallel it, you know? And he did a great job with that, but he had a different story he wanted to tell. And yeah, it gets a little kiddie. It gets very CG, and obviously so at times. And maybe they miscast Anakin a couple of times. But, and my biggest criticism is I think that they started too early. They should have started when Anakin was already training to be a Jedi.
I can see
and
that.
then you would have had 3 movies to show me his fall, because his fall happened so quick.
It did.
Yeah. And it just happened way too quick.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't realize we were going to be talking about Star Wars for so long. That's awesome.
Dude. I think a lot of people were disappointed with Last Jedi, and it started a whole revolution of like hate Star Wars.
It did,
which is
that
sad.
hurt Solo,
which is sad, and I think that's exactly what hurt Solo. So I didn't watch Solo in the theater, and when I finally watched it at home, I was kicking myself. I was like, that movie is phenomenal. And I should have seen it in the theater.
Yeah,
you know?
I think everybody did a great job too. Like all the actors did, and it sucks that it didn't really hit, because at the end when you see Darth Maul, spoilers by the way, but when you see Darth Maul, like they were trying to set up the Boba Fett movie and the Lando movie. They wanted to tell a whole story. Yep. And we'll never get to see that.
No. Speaking of that, what do you think about The Mandalorian?
Love it.
Oh,
love it. Do you like it?
Awesome. Oh, I loved it too, man. Every episode was so great.
I loved it. I loved it so much. It had a great feel, a great tone to it. Baby Yoda is the greatest Star Wars invention ever.
So cute, man.
I mean, every time I watch that with my cats, and I'm just like, oh, my little baby Yodas, right. It's great. and I'm pumped for season 2, because they're bringing in Rosario Dawson as the Ahsoka, and they're bringing in Timothy Olyphant, who I think is just one of the best actors out there. He can do comedy, he can do badassery, and he does it well. And the rumors are that he's the bounty hunter that steals Boba Fett's armor. And we also got dude coming back to play Boba Fett, right? Mm-hmm. And dude, I'm even more excited and Mandalorian, because they're not stuck on the Skywalker thing. Yeah. There's this whole Star Wars world that's been created.
Yep.
And Lucas just hinted at it, but he let all the stuff. And if you read all the expanded universe stuff, whether it's the old school Dark Horse or Marvel comics or all the novels, there's a whole world out there. I'm a big Star Trek fan, Cool. When people really start coming at me hard about Star Wars, I'm like, look, let's not take it too seriously. It's just Star Wars. It's not like it's Star Trek. But there's a whole world that's created that people have filled in, and there's more to the Star Wars story than just the Skywalker legacy. And I think people really responded on Mandalorian, because that's one of the corners that we've always wanted to see elaborated on, is the Mandalorians and Yoda's race. And we're slowly learning a little bit more. and just great characters, great story. I mean, I love The Mandalorian. I cannot wait for it to come back, dude.
Me too. I can't wait either, man. I had this magazine, and I can't even remember what it was, and I wish I could have, but it was when I was really young, 1999, 2000, and it was kind of explaining the history of the Sith, and it went back to the planet and how there was millions of Sith, you know, and until one of the Sith came up with this whole idea of there can only be a master and an apprentice, and they kind of, after many wars with the Jedi and all kinds of stuff, these two guys like went off and killed everybody until it was only them two, you know? Right. I mean, imagine them doing that story.
Yeah, tell that story. That's what I want to hear. I want to see that.
Have you seen the Knights of the Old Republic like short films?
No, I've read some of the comic, which was very cool and interesting, but I've never checked out anything like that. Was it like fan film or?
No. It's like it's a.
Is it based on the video game or something?
Yeah, it's based on the video game.
Okay.
Have you seen those?
Yeah, I know of the video game, but I'm not really much of a gamer if it's post 1995. So
yeah, dude. Go look up the why is the word escaping me? It's just the videos that show what the video game's going to be like, but
okay.
It's like
the cutscenes or whatever.
Yeah, man. Oh, bro, they're fantastic, man. And I hear that there's some ideas of those becoming movies that will, Darth Revan.
I've seen his action figure, and that dude is completely badass.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this you need to check out these Knights. I'll send you some of the links, man, after this. And man,
Herminio, come on, man.
I will tell you this.
Come on, man.
My dad is a huge Trekkie, and I grew up not a Trekkie fan, so we'd always have these Star Wars, Star Trek battles, you know. And
yeah,
we'd go to when we take him to the theater to see Star Wars, the dude would fall asleep and start snoring.
Well, I'll tell you this, and this comes from a Trek fan, and I prefer the term Trekker. But you know, you can say whatever you want. But Star Trek would not have the staying power that it has without Star Wars, because it was the Star Wars movies so they did a Star Trek movie that was very much in line with the Roddenberry vision for the show.
Okay.
And people hated it, right? I love Star Trek, the motion picture, but most people kind of didn't like it. Mm-hmm. But then they love Wrath of Khan. That movie only happened because of Star Wars. So Star Trek owes a lot of its success to Star Wars. Mm-hmm. But when you, and I've had this conversation so many times that we got to have this Trek versus Star Wars thing, right?
Right.
And I'm like, well, here's the thing, is that they're two completely different properties. I know that they're both set in space, but Star Trek is a science fiction, right? Mm-hmm. Star Wars is a science fantasy.
Yeah.
Do you get the difference there? Like, it's literally about wizards with space laser swords, right? You know, and they use magic. They use the Force.
That's
like,
religion.
so yeah. So it's a very different thing. And I appreciate both. I love both. I make the jab because I do take Star Trek more seriously, just because I spent more time with Star Trek because I watched all those shows. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I watched TOS, I watched Next Gen, I watched DS9, I watched Voyager. Awesome. I watched a little bit of Enterprise, and I was like, I got to dip out of this. I'll tell you that. But yeah, Star Trek owes a lot to Star Wars. Even the J.J. Abrams Star Trek owes a lot to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because Roddenberry didn't want it to be about space battles and all that kind of stuff. He wanted it to be about more of a societal conflict. You know, it's about progressing society. He wanted it to be more like a Western. And Star Wars feels that way too at times. Very Western, very samurai. It's a samurai movie in space. Right. Yeah. But it's almost unfair to compare them, you know, though they do get compared a lot. Yeah. And Star Wars obviously has the better toys. So let's just be honest about that.
Right. For Father's Day, I'm trying to find my dad a Star Trek 1 and comic book.
Oh, nice. The Marvel one, I guess, or the Gold Key one.
The Gold Key one.
Nice.
Yeah, man. So he doesn't own any comics. I sat down in this little office here, and I was telling him about Dr. Doom because he's a huge Fantastic Four fan too. He loved Fantastic Four and Spider-Man as a kid. My grandma threw out all his comics when he went to law school. and he hasn't seen comics since then. He's like, I'm a lawyer, I don't read comics, But recently, as he's seen me do this whole YouTube thing and everything, I've been telling him about characters, and so he actually borrowed my Marvel Universe app, and he's been reading comics and stuff, man. And so I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
he loves Star Trek so much that I'm gonna try to get him a nice number one. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah. That Gold Key Star Trek #1 is so terrible, but it's so great. Like, it's great artwork, those Gold Key Star Trek books. Most of them were made by European creators who had actually never seen an episode of Star Trek. And like, they call the transporter, the transponder, or the teleporter. They have, everything's so wildly different at first. And then Lynn Wein came in and had actually apparently seen Star Trek, and they changed it a little bit, but those covers, the colors on those books and the line work, those Italian artists in particular were so amazing. And some of the best artwork from that era is in a Star Trek book. Gold Key was doing great stuff, even though they didn't really pay too much attention to continuity. People didn't care so much about that back in the day.
Craziness.
They just wanted to read a good comic.
What did you think about Infinity War and Endgame, man?
Oh, I loved them. I think Infinity War is probably the near perfect event, giant tentpole movie.
Yeah.
Endgame, I could pick apart some of its ideas. I think it contradicts itself in its own time travel, sciencey mumbo jumbo type stuff.
Yeah.
But I still had fun with it. Infinity War taught me that I was not emotionally ready to see Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark die in front of me.
Yeah.
And then Endgame confirmed that. So I think both are great. I think Infinity War is the better film, but without Infinity War, or without Endgame, Infinity War doesn't have the payoff that it should.
Yeah, there's no reason.
But I loved it. And I think Thanos has been the most significant cinema villain since Darth Vader.
Love it, man. I was watching it just a Sunday. I'm like, you know what? I just had this itch. I hadn't watched Endgame since the theaters, and I'm like, I haven't seen Infinity War for a year and a half. So I'm like, I just have this itch. So I told my wife on Saturday night, tomorrow I'm waking up early and I'm just gonna watch it. Anybody that wants to watch it with me, come down. If you want to sleep in, it's fine. So when Tony Stark gets stabbed at the end of Infinity War by Thanos, I'm bawling like a baby, and my daughter looks at me. She's like, "Dad, he's not even gonna die. You know this."
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, I don't even care. Like, I am so caught up in the emotion of this movie that I just don't even care, man.
And when you watch it live, like when you're watching it for the first time, you don't know who's going to make it through.
No.
So when that moment happens, I was like, they're going to do it right now?
Yeah.
I was like so worried. I was like, I'm not ready. You got to give me a year to like get myself ready. And they did. So I'm glad for that. I just saw this thing recently too, where I never thought of this. But when Thanos stabs him and he's basically talking shit to him, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a parallel of the scene at the end of Iron Man 1 when Jeff Bridges' character of Stain does the exact same thing.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
And when he pulls and he does that's why I love it's that attention to detail, not just with comic book accuracy or anything like that. And that's something that Feige and the MCU get down. Yeah. They're able to take comic book accuracy and streamlining it for a wider audience. They're able to really. That's something comic book movies have always struggled with.
Yeah, and being handcuffed because they don't have the rights to all the characters that they need, but they still make it spectacular.
Yeah, right. And so like that moment was just it was a big deal. And it had more emotional resonance to me than Vader's death, and I remember being a kid and being very much affected the first time I ever saw Jedi, and redemption, such an important story to tell.
Yes.
In the hero's journey, it's redemption
in life, in life's journey, man. In
life's journey, which is the hero's journey. Let's be honest. Everybody has a call to action, and you either ignore it or you don't. Yep. And when you accept that call, you got to go through some dark places. Yeah. But you will get better. You will come out of that, and that's why we love these stories so much. That's why we love Spider-Man and the X-Men and Superman. And Batman. That's why we love these. Wonder Woman, Black Panther. That's why we love these stories, is because they capture that journey, which the hero's journey is life's journey. And that's something Carl Jung was always trying to tell us about, and Joseph Campbell.
Yep.
If you've never read Man with a Thousand Faces, you definitely should, because that's key to understanding fiction and our modern day mythology, the way that we tell the human story. And the human story involves sacrifice and redemption, involves a death, a burial, and a resurrection. Yes. It's something so key to so many religious ideas. It's so key to Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, death, birth, and rebirth. And that's something that we go through every single day. And I mean, literally we do it. It's the tale of the seasons of the year. It's the tale of going to bed at night and waking up and seeing the sunrise and being like, this is the promise of a new day, which brings about new opportunity for change and bettering our world. And that's why I love comic books. That's why I love movies. That's why I love TV. That's why I love He-Man, all that stuff. And we love the villains too, because the villains are us as well. Right. Yeah. And so seeing the inversion of that hero's journey is very important to us as well. And that's why we started Pop Culture Philosophers, because we wanted to dive a little bit deeper, at times. And when we do the podcast, we kind of do that. And sometimes it annoys some of the people on the podcast with me, but I'll be like, what does it mean? And they'll be like, well, it means this. I'm like, no. What does it really mean? And we'll get into it though, So, and that's what we do
all the time, man. I'll be like, what does that mean though? And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I don't want any of these cookie cutter answers. Let's dive into this, Yeah,
right. All the great religious leaders tell stories. Jesus told parables, and they were like, why? It's like, so you actually understand what I'm getting at.
Yep.
So you understand what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh yeah.
And story is the very first way that we convey that idea to each other. And we keep that alive with story.
Yeah.
So, and now we just get to add computer effects and badass comic book artwork to it. Right?
Man. Yeah. I mean, going back to what you were saying, I knew that Tony Stark and Captain America were done because the actors, they were done with their contract.
Yeah.
And I was every scene that was intense, I was waiting for Cap to die or Iron Man to die, man.
Yeah. And you were just like, oh.
Yeah, I'm telling you, at the end of Endgame, when Captain America picks up Mjolnir and they're going at it, I'm waiting for him to get killed. The whole time, man, I'm just like, he's gonna die. Then when he starts just breaking the hammer, I mean, not the hammer. I'm sorry, the shield.
The shield, yeah.
Thanos is just breaking the shield, and I'm like, well, first of all, that shield wouldn't break, but I'm like, gosh, he's gonna die right now. He's gonna die right now. Oh man, like I told you, Infinity Gauntlet was my favorite story growing up.
Yeah,
and I didn't know how they were going to do it without Adam Warlock and Silver Surfer. I just didn't see it possible. But boy, they proved me wrong, man.
Yeah, it sucks that we didn't have that, but they did it.
They did it, man. They did.
I remember first seeing the trailer for Infinity War, and the moment when Cap grabs onto the gauntlet when he's trying to punch him.
Yeah,
I was like, so is that where he's going to die?
Oh yeah.
But I love that moment because it's one of your favorite comics, but one of my favorite moments in comics is when Thanos destroys the entire Marvel heroes, right? All of them. But Cap,
last one standing,
and stands up to him. And he's like, you may kill me. He's basically like, you may kill me, but Hope's never going to die.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude.
It's so good, man. That's why I live for this shit. I live for it.
Yes, amen, bro.
Live for it. Moon Knight, to answer your question real quick, we're going to be covering the Eisner nominations on the weekly pop culture wrap up, but I think it's kind of bullshit. I think Vault got snubbed again, and I almost want to boycott the Eisners, but they did nominate Sentient Little Bird for Best Limited Series, but I think the Eisners are way out of touch. I think we need to start our own YouTube awards. I'm not even kidding. That's a great idea. That literally just had, Matt. We need to do that. We need to start our own YouTube fan awards. You know how Wizards used to do the fan awards?
Yes.
We should all get together. Me, you, Jim, Bueller, Tom, all of us, every single one of us, right? We get together and we vote on certain categories, and we pick the top 5, and we let the fans vote, and we do our own comic book YouTube fan awards or something.
Dude, I'm part of the Comic Corps, and they, we helped put together Mainframe.
Yeah.
And
y'all did a great job. And they just subscribed to my channel today. I got the email notification. I was like, finally.
yeah, man. Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have.
Jason's been trying to tell me to get on there. And I was like, I'll be on there anytime. Somebody just got to holler. I'll do it. I'll do anything.
Dude,
we're talking about comic books. I'm there.
You would have been so great at it. I got to interview a couple actors and actresses and stuff during the Comic-Con. And
nice.
Bro, it was such a cool, surreal experience, because they invited me onto the Comic Con like a week before it went down. And they're like, hey, and by the way, we need you to help interview people, and you're going to be there on the first night, like welcoming everybody. I'm like, I'm down. Let's do it.
Hell yeah, man.
Dude, it was so much fun. But that idea, like if we can do that, you should run with this idea, man. You should get it started.
Yeah, because I think the Eisners are a crock of shit right now, to be honest with you. I think it's a bunch of just, yeah. And everybody's top, like, these are the best comics. They're not in touch with the actual industry. And the best thing I saw was Zdarsky got a lot of nominations. He's not going to win them, though. He's not going to win them because they don't go for, Vault didn't get nominated. Donny Cates didn't get nominated. You cannot tell me that Donny Cates wasn't the best writers of 2019, 2020. You cannot tell me that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Thanos Wins is mind-boggling, man.
Yeah, and what he did with Venom alone on this year, and then, and Thor's just started, so that doesn't really necessarily qualify, but there's a lot of snubs. And every year I think there's too many snubs, and I think we should do something about it.
We should.
We do. All right, we're nearing the end of the show. So this is something I always ask everybody, Matt. I want to know, because I'm kind of into some stuff. Have you ever had an experience where you've seen, say, a UFO or a ghost or an angel or a demon or just any kind of like a paranormal experience? Have you ever had one?
I've had many.
Is there one you would like to spotlight for us tonight, buddy?
Man.
And if it gets too personal, that's fine. But just if there's, anything you've seen or experienced, because we all have these stories, and I think it's important to talk about them.
Yeah. So I don't know how much you know about me, but my background, I'm very religious. So I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter Saints. People call us Mormons, right?
Yeah.
So I've grown up very, very close to God and to Scripture and church on Sundays and all that kind of stuff,
I used to go to seminary. I was training to be a pastor for a long time.
Oh man, that's
the
awesome.
Baptist church. But yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome, man. So yeah, and so right now I teach a seminary class to high school kids.
Nice.
So, like, I've been very close to spiritual things my entire life, and I've had many, many spiritual experiences. But one that pops into my head right now is really cool. I played football in high school. I played football since I was like 3, man. It was my sport. And in high school, I kind of transitioned from being the captain on the defense to playing a running back. And I always wanted to play quarterback because I had a heck of an arm, man. And I could probably take out the guys that were ahead of me, but they'd been doing it for a long time. Our team had been going. So I was like, I'll play running back. You guys do your quarterback thing. So I became really good friends with the quarterback. Obviously, we were working together all the time. I'm the running back. He's the quarterback. And we had a great relationship. I got hurt my junior year, went to the doctor. I had gotten my 10th concussion, and the doctor literally told my parents, if you put him back in football, I'm going to call CPS on you guys. Like, no more sports for this kid. It's like, all right. So I got out. The quarterback still treated me great, man. Still my friend. Most of the team was like, you're a pansy. You don't want to play. The coaches treated me horrible. You're just a quitter, But this guy was a really good friend. So anyway, one day I get a phone call from my friends after we graduated, and I came back home to visit because I moved away to go up to Brigham Young University for a while. And I get a phone call, and my friend's like, hey, Anthony passed away. And I'm like, what? Like, Anthony, the quarterback Anthony? They're like, yeah, he passed away. I'm like, what happened? And they're like, well, he was over at this other kid's house that has a habit of stealing motorcycles around town. So he'll go find a motorcycle, throw it on his truck, strip it down, take everything off, and then sell them off. And all the guys got together at this guy's house, and they were going to go riding like on 12 of stolen bikes that this guy had. So he tells everybody, if cops show up, take off, don't get caught, So they're cruising down the street. Police officers show up. My friend books it. And so the police start chasing him because he takes off. And he's going down the street like 100 miles an hour. An SUV pulls out in front of him and he hits it, flies over it like 40 yards. And he just dies there on the street in pain.
Damn.
So I get this whole like story on the phone. And I'm like, my gosh, like, you know, and I knew his mom, I knew his brother and stuff. So, yeah. So, all of a sudden, maybe a month later, man, I start seeing him everywhere, man. I'm driving down the street and I see him walking, and then I do a double take and he's not there. I'm driving and all of a sudden the car passing me, I look in the passenger seat and it's Anthony. I look, he's not there. I'm at Walmart shopping with my wife and all of a sudden I look and he's there. And I'm like, whoa, what is happening? You know, just a crazy, he just kept coming and kept coming.
Yeah.
So I started praying and I'm like, God, like, why am I seeing Anthony everywhere? And I'm telling you, man, like, I kid you not, I saw him more than 50 times in like a 2-week period.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's something going on. So I get this like confirmation, like, he needs your help. So I'm like, all right. So I get a letter together. I write it to his parents. I put a lot of the things that I believe in it, you know, and I'm like, I'm taking it tomorrow morning and I'm going to go give it to his parents, check on them and just tell them I've been seeing him everywhere. And I think this is the message he wants me to give to you, you know? And all of a sudden I wake up in the morning, man, and I am as sick as I've ever been in my life. I'm throwing up. I'm on the toilet. I'm in pain. Like, I am just absolutely sick. And I have this feeling that there's this dark presence that just does not want me to take this message to Anthony's family. So I'm like, well, I'll get over it. And the day goes on, it's nighttime and I'm still throwing up, man. So I tell my wife, can you take this to Anthony's family? Give them this letter that I wrote, give them this message and let them know like that I love them and that I will be over there as soon as I feel better. My wife's like, yeah, sure. No problem. She's like, I'm going to take the kids with me. We had 3 kids at the time.
The boy who had 3.
The boy who had 3, that's right. So she's like, I'm going to take the 3 kids. So she takes off. And I, all of a sudden, for the next hour, have the most emotional roller coaster ever. All of a sudden, I'm sitting in my room. And actually, I'm sitting in the TV room watching TV. And all of a sudden, I just get sick to my stomach. Like something horrible is going to happen to my wife. But this is back in the days, like this is 2003. You know, we didn't have cell phones. We were newly married, really, really poor. So like, I don't know how to get a hold of her. She's going to these people's house and I'm not going to be able to talk to her till she gets home, you know? So, but I have this feeling like, oh my gosh, like something really bad's about to happen to her. And all of a sudden that goes away. And then all of a sudden I have these feelings of disappointment. Like something's not happening right, you know? And I'm thinking, whoa, I wonder if she gave them the message and they're like angry or something. And then all of a sudden I have this feeling of just like pure joy. And I'm sitting there, gonna get emotional. I'm sitting there and then all of a sudden I feel like somebody in the room with me. And I swear Anthony's there. And I don't see him, but I could just feel him.
Yeah.
And I just feel him say like, thanks, man. That's all I needed.
Wow.
And then gone. So I'm like, whoa, what did just happen? So my wife gets home like 4 hours later. And she tells me this. She's like, we're driving there. And I'm at a 4-way stop sign. All the lights are off when they're usually on in the street. But it's just pitch dark. Maybe something happened. And I'm about to go in the stop sign. And I just get this feeling like to slam on the brakes. I slam on the brake and a car without its lights on just runs the stop sign.
Wow.
Just would have killed us. Just hit us. Probably like 60 miles an hour, just runs it.
Yeah, just T-boned.
Just T-bone, man. So right there, I'm like, whoa, is that what I was feeling when I was just terrified that something was going to happen? Then she's like, then we finally get to the house. We go. We can see the TV on through the window. We could hear people talking, and we're ringing the doorbell. We're knocking, and nobody's coming to the door. Like, just they can't hear us, but they're like 10 feet away. She's like, so we're getting out ready to leave. And all of a sudden the garage door opens and the sun comes out, the brother of Anthony's brother. And he's like, hey, are you okay? Did you need something? And she's like, yeah, we've been ringing. He's like, we didn't hear anything. And she's like, we knocked too for like the longest time. He's like, we were right there by the door. Craziness. So I'm like, maybe that's the disappointment I felt.
Wow.
So he's like, what's going on? And she's like, well, my husband was Anthony's friend. His name's Matt. Oh yeah, I know Matt. Yeah. He wanted me to give something to your parents. Can I talk to him? Yeah, they're inside. Come inside. They stayed inside. They were together for like 3 hours. The mom just like, she was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I want to live anymore. And you just brought hope back to my life.
Wow.
And I know that Anthony's been telling him just so I know in this moment that he's somewhere and he's okay. And then that's when I had that experience where he's like, thanks, man. That's all I needed, you know?
Wow, dude.
And so it's happened 17 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
But like, it's fresh as can be, man. Like I got goosebumps. I'm shaking right now. Like,
oh man, I'm so sorry, but thank you so much for sharing that.
No, man, it's an incredible experience. One of many like that in my life, man. And pretty amazing, man.
Thank you so much for sharing that, dude. That was a touching story. And I feel that because I've had similar experiences with people that I've lost in my life. And the reason why I asked this question, people think I'm some kind of weird conspiracy theory nut or whatever. I have fun with conspiracy theories, but I do believe that there's something else.
Yeah.
There's something more than this.
Yeah.
And everybody that I talk to has something very similar to this experience. They have an experience like this. And I think they're all connected. And I think it's all proof that there's something else. Yeah. And so I like to spotlight that. So I really appreciate you sharing that story. I really do, Matt. Thank you so much.
For sure, man. Thank you for asking. It's nice to relive it, you know?
Yeah. Good, man. Good.
Thank you, chat, too.
Yeah, for real. Well, that brings us to the end of the show on a light note, obviously. So, Matt, why don't you tell everybody what you got coming up on The Boy Who Had 7 Talks Comics?
Yeah, so I've been tagged by a couple of YouTubers to do the top comic books in my collection. I've really never showed everything I've got, but I think I'm going to take a couple steps. I'm probably going to do the top 59.8s in my collection, and then I'll bust out
59.8s. Listen to this guy.
I won't tell you how many I could do. And then I'm going to try to kind of transition over to like the top comics in my collection. You know, I don't know. I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to go through everything, kind of enjoy the collection, then maybe do top 25 or top 10. I don't know. I'm just going to try to make a few videos out of this one idea, you know?
Yeah.
So I'll be sharing that. And a lot of my friends are like, dude, show your 9/8s, man. Cause everyone knows you have your 9/8s, you know? So I'm going to try to do that. And then I'm going to drop a video probably tomorrow, all the pops in my collection.
Nice.
Yeah, man. My wife's like, hey, show all your pops. Speaking of which, I wanted to show you these real quick before we go, because I know you will appreciate these, and I'm not sure if you pick these up or not, but let me grab
I'm trying to slowly get out of pops, but they keep getting new licenses. I was like, I'm done with pops. And they're like, we're doing Fantastic Four pops. I'm like, damn it.
Yep, that's exactly what.
Oh. Look at those.
Yeah, baby. They're there, right there.
Yeah, I got mine all right here on the shelf.
Yes, sir. I saw them earlier. I was like, hey, that's Galactus, isn't it?
Yep, it is.
Yep.
The best. Those are dope, dude. And you got the Spider-Man Venom one too, right?
I did. Yeah.
See, I didn't get that one because I'm trying real hard not to, but man, that's a badass pop.
Dude, I mean, I got my poster back here.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite covers. I mean, it has to be in this office. You know what I'm saying?
Is that like 316? Is that what that cover is?
16, man.
Spidey 316, baby.
I like the reference, man. I started getting into pops. I said I'll buy a few, and now I have a whole bunch. And so I'm like, I'll share that. You know? So
I was telling my buddy today, I was like, yeah, I am done with pops officially. And he's like, are you for real? I was like, yeah. I was like, but there is a glow-in-the-dark Frankenstein coming out at Walgreens in October, so I'll probably get that one.
So you're not. It's you know what, like Epic says, you know, can't get into pops. It's true. Once you pop, you can't stop, right? Like it happens. It's hard. So I think I have the ones that I love. I don't just get everything. you know, but it's turned into a pretty big collection. So I'm going to show that here probably tomorrow. I'll drop it.
I like that Warlock you got, man.
Oh, dude. And the fact that it was given to me from a friend, man, so cool. The Adam Warlock right there.
Look at that, y'all.
Dude, Infinity Gauntlet, how can I not own the first Adam Warlock pop? You know what I'm saying?
Beautiful.
So
I've got his action figure. He was supposed to be part of Fantastic Four Wave 3 from Toy Biz, but they'd never produced it. Mm-hmm. And then they produced it for the Marvel Overpower line, and I have that. And it's a great pop. It's supposed to light up his head, but it doesn't. Dude. The battery's dead. I got to replace that.
Yes, I love these, man. And then Comic Gories. If you guys haven't seen Comic Gories, come hang out with us. It's so much fun, man.
So much. I got to catch one live. It's so much fun. I want to vote.
Yeah, dude. I'm thinking of, because right now you saw how it happened. John counts, right?
Yeah.
But I'm thinking if there's some type of app or something that we can, you know, hook up to YouTube so people just go to the app, vote, and then it just automatically like shows it like.
There's got to be something like that. That'd be great too, to see it live going up and down like that.
Yep.
There's got to be something. If not, somebody out there developed this. You're going to make $1 million,
right? So I mean, I'm going to start looking for something like that, because there has been a few episodes where we've gone back and people are like, "Dude, like I actually got cheated on that," you know, and it's all for fun, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a good time. So, but as we have some ideas going forward where we're going to play for keeps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we need to do it legit so that nobody can go back and be like, "Hey, you didn't count right." You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. I'll tell you this. Everybody out there in the PCP army that thinks that I got cheated on the Kid and Play comic, which I thought I had next to me, but I guess I don't. But anyway, I did go back and do a very real count, and I lost to Jim Mint very, very fairly. Yeah. I disagree with most people's votes.
Right.
But that's okay. If you're going to lose to anybody, lose to Jim Mint. I feel like Rocky and Rocky won, and in Rocky 2, you know what happened? Rocky won.
That's right.
So I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm very ready. And I appreciate. Have you ever competed on a Comic Stories?
I have. So the first time we started the show, I'm like, "Hey, John, let's go head to head, you and I, so we can show people what this is about." So the very first episode of Comic Stories, John and I competed against each other, and then maybe like 3 months later, we did it again, and then I just competed like 2 months ago, and I'm such an idiot. Sometimes you need to use your pass. And the guy that I was going up against, we got comic book vehicles for a comic book vehicle cover.
Wow.
And so I forgot that he owns the very first appearance of the Batmobile.
Well, how are you going to beat that?
So I'm like, okay, cool. I've got an Action one right next to me, like a little replica, you know, like I'll bust out that one. That's a great vehicle, Action one. He busts out the Batmobile and got my butt whooped, man.
The only way you beat that is with the James Bond Jr. number whatever that has the first appearance of his car. That's the only way.
James Bond Jr. is so cool, dude. Yeah, no, it's and the first 2 times I competed, my knees were knocking. I was freaking out, you know, having to run in here. And it's my
By the way, 30 seconds is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
People think it will go really fast. I'll be honest, though, the 30 seconds, there's a moment in there where it takes forever. And that's the moment where you're thinking.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? I should have. None of us used a pass, right? And I knew that was going to happen. So I could not use a pass. But I wanted the Kirby cover to come out so much. Yeah. Because I remember Jim even going, if Kirby cover pops up, y'all are in trouble. And I'm like, homie, I got a first appearance of Dr. Doom 12 inches from me right now.
Nobody's beating that, bro.
So I'm waiting. I pray for Jack Kirby right now. Okay. Yeah. Please bring it. It never popped up. Yep. But when you guys got, when Bueller and Jim got to the final round, I was like, I don't know what I would have done for any of those. I would have figured it out though. I'm just like 120 shy of having a complete Fantastic Four. So I think there's a Fantastic Four cover to cover every single category. But you just got to know it, right?
And what's interesting too about the show is that some nights it's all about the smack talk. Other nights, it doesn't matter how good of a smack talk you are, whatever book you pull out. The chat is all about the book that night. Some nights
you pull out a first appearance of Batmobile. It doesn't matter how much shit talk Bueller's throwing out there, he's losing.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. And some of the books I've seen on that show, man, I'm just like, wow. That you have.
There was that guy you had on. I cannot remember his name, but he kept saying that he literally only had like 30 or 30 comics or something, but they were all Golden Age CGC. Yep.
Yep, all pre-code horror.
What a crazy ass comic book collector right there, right?
Yeah, man. Dude, that guy, he's so fantastic. He's one of my best friends in the community, man, and he just has honed in to exactly what he wants in his collection. And it's insane, but every time he's on the show, he wins because people are like, "Oh my gosh, you own that book!" Like, you know, it's phenomenal, man.
Yeah, that's dope. That's why I can't believe that Comic Tom lost to Bueller with a double cover Golden Age book. It's a Jello man.
I'm never losing. I can beat any book. There you go, Bueller. I love the attitude.
I love it, Matt. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Oh man, what a blast!
If you're one of the rare out there in the PCP Army that haven't subscribed to The Boy Who Had 7, you can find a link to his channel in the description of this video right here. You can also always find a link to his channel on our featured panel or featured channel panel on the homepage here at Pop Culture Philosophers on YouTube. Matt, I love what you do. I really appreciate you coming up and sharing with us.
Thank you.
And somebody said, let's see, Herminio said something like he didn't even get a certain jerk comic book store.
Oh yeah.
Story, so we got to do a round 2, and we'll do a round 2 as long as Matt had fun, I had fun, and I know y'all had fun.
Heck yeah.
So hell yeah. Hylia is super awesome in that show because he's got a banging ass collection, and he's a super cool guy. I got to get him on the show soon.
Yeah, great guy. Love him.
Everybody, coming up here at Pop Culture Philosophers tomorrow night, we're doing a live movie review of the recent Invisible Man film starring Elizabeth Moss. I watched that last night. Jay Strick watched it. Jelani's watching it. Brooks is watching it. We're all going to have a really fun time talking about that movie. So join us tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time. And then what else was I going to say? I got an advanced review also popping up tomorrow on Bleed Them Dry, which is a new Vault comic book written by Elliot Rahal, which is a cyberpunk vampire ninja story. And I'm pretty sure I already sold everybody on the book. And it's awesome.
I like it.
Anyway, I really like this. David Hatch says, put Robbie in the couples program and pair him up with Bueller. Robbie needs a smack talk mentor. Are you serious? Did you not watch the last episode of the Avengers Battle Draft on the Everything Comics channel? Come on. I created Ghost Thrasher.
Yes,
I shit talked my way in victory.
The man has skills.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, Bueller. Let me just say this. Bueller did all that and then wore himself out and couldn't perform that night. I had no problem going all weekend long live streaming, okay? Ghost Thrasher for the win. Matt, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, brother.
Y'all go subscribe up. And remember, love is all you need to love each other, right?
That's right.
Y'all have a good one, man. We're out.